Welcome one, welcome all. It's a new season of NECC, a new semester. I am Lightrose. Joining me is Treasure. And well, like I said, we're off to the races for a new season. In this match today on the P stream, we got Platteville A versus Barton.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a long winter for collegiate esports, so we're glad to be back. You may have been keeping up with some of the other stuff coming on through the streams these last couple days, but now Rainbow Six is the next one up on this. So this is going to be the Champions Division, so one of our higher divisions, technically speaking here, so it should be some nice competition for us coming up. I'm really happy to be back in the booth, bringing us some more NECC R6.
Yep, getting back into the swing of things, and well, getting into the swing of things, I want to talk about some of these teams. I mentioned it was Barton versus Platteville A, and Barton, we gotta go over this roster right here. We got I'm a Toaster 5000, Neymar Jr., Salty Archer, Dallos, and Airfy.
Yeah, so actually these are both pretty young teams, all freshmen and sophomores across both of the rosters. So I think we're quite likely to see a lot more of all of these players over the next couple years, even not just seasons, but several seasons from each of them prospectively. So that's really exciting to see right there. A nice mix of different majors that they're all looking at currently.
And then swapping over to the other side of the coin, the other side, Platteville A, of course, you have at the top, you got Lock, 2 Darum, Frosty Games, Bubba, Robo, and Murray the Dope Fin, and just kind of going off of what you said, this is also a relatively young team.
Yeah, I do love to see that, especially some more established programs, because you like to see that there's new young blood able to compete at this level consistently year after year, and they're only going to compete better and at higher levels as we continue. I mean, there's 2 full years more beyond this season even that we're looking at for both these teams being able to keep their exact same rosters, even excluding any additions that they might be having. So that places them to be in a really good spot to be looking at in future seasons.
Yeah, of course, well, you've seen who's going to be a part of this game. Now we have to talk about where this game will be headed. We do not have a screen for you, but I guess we'll just give it to you. Right now, we got Villa, Border, and Oregon. You got a nice mix of those older maps with Villa and Oregon, and then a little bit of spice with Border straight in the middle.
Yeah, I love that addition right there. We're going to have quite a bit of focus on vertical clearing, if not vertical destruction. Definitely Border, we're going to be seeing that hugely. That map does not let you get into any objectives without making sure that there's no one below or above, depending on which floor you're currently on. Oregon, my personal favorite to close things out if we get one of those full 3 map durations. I love how mixed it is. It gives you a little bit of everything: long angles, short angles, important setups that really test your bread and butter abilities, and also have some room for mixing in some personal flair.
Yeah, with Oregon, everybody knows Oregon, but you can't really say the same about Border. I mean, you may know something like Armory, which has been mainly unchanged since you kind of had that little Border rework, but some of these other sites, they're a little bit of a mixed bag, maybe over those east stairs. But as we start to tumble towards the beginning, can't talk about Border, we got to go into Villa first. And I know this will be an exciting map because it's always really fun.
I love how we have so much floor space to work with. There's so much that has to be cleared out. Sometimes not being quick in the first minute of the game of the round can totally tell an attacking round for a team. So they really have to use their time as best as possible to get that leg up.
And going through the ban phase, I mean, I'm not expecting anything too crazy. I like that the bans have kind of deviated from just it's the same 4 bans every time. Like even Jackal, that is not the typical bans that you see. It's a comfort ban for a lot, but if you're truly getting into like strategies, you potentially might see a Dekebi ban, you could see a Nook ban, and of course, we do sometimes have that ranged hard breach, but he's that good old secondary ban.
Yeah, definitely comfort picks. The meta move quite a bit in a proper competitive sphere, but so many of these games that players at all levels are playing is just in the ranked ladder, and Jackal and Thatcher are your perennial favorites. Get them out of here. They're going to just mess with a lot of your standard game plans. Thatcher shutting down walls denial, and Jackal is actually quite relevant on Villa, so it makes a lot of sense that he'd be coming out with that large amount of floor space. He is able to cover a lot more of it by seeing the footprints that are not just now, but over the course of the last 20 seconds.
And with Azami just finishing up, that does mean Valkyrie will get through. And I think we should see some play. She can definitely be a nuisance on this map with kind of where you can hide some of those cameras. But we'll see if Platteville decide to stick her in, because, of course, you always have to sub somebody out to bring in the Valkyrie. And a lot of times it's just not worth it. See, like what Platteville has right now, they don't have the Valkyrie. And I think Bubba just going in there was finally like, you know what? Let's just bring her in as they go to the kitchen for the first sight.
That's going to be a lot of intel for the defenders. Kitchen is an interesting start here right off the bat. You'll usually end up going here at some point, but I'd like to see a team that's very comfortable here. This objective really requires taking these brickwork floored rooms and making sure that those are going to stay unbreached for the longest amount of time possible. That's where your last stand inevitably is on this objective every time. And with the combination of Valkyrie and Pulse, that's 4 C4s being brought, and with all that intel, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those depth charges going out.
We'll see if there's any roamers heading on up. Bubba is kind of your go-to. Usually the Valkyrie is a roamer. Potentially the Cap can with Frosty as well, but you definitely have to send 1, 2, maybe 3 players to this top floor, because the master bedroom, it's such an important area of the map to hold. And with what Barton is bringing, you got the sledge, you got the buck, you got IQ. There is so much vertical destruction.
Yeah, the attackers now losing that drone, but they know for sure that they're going to be dealing with a cap can up here by Master Bedroom. So this is going to be the first part of the roam clear up top. Luckily for the attackers, Neymar has brought the IQ. This is actually going to be a huge benefit to them, both helping, oh my god, find Robo. They don't even need it. Oh my god, well, we'll get it actually. With that run out lockdown, getting 2 for his efforts. Going to be knocked down himself as well, but that is well worth the time. His utility is mostly set and forget, although they will be lacking for 1 of those C4s, but 3 is plenty for any roster.
I mean, that's a 2-for-1 trade. You take out frag grenades, you take out the ability to look through the posts, through the walls, and basically you throw a wrench right into Barton's plans very early on, and even deal some damage to Salty Archer. So honestly, with the intel that you have with the remaining players that actually aren't on the top floor, they're headed all the way down to the first floor. I guess Lockdown just did enough for him, and that's exactly what Bubba will do, just assassinate Urfi. And even Toaster's just wondering, where the heck did this Valkyrie come from?
Yeah, oh, and just fading into the shadows here. Totally on the other side of the objective from where these last 2 players are going to be, but this is going to be giving that peace of mind to the team, and now they get to lock down the location of I'm a Toaster, who is looking a little stuck. They do have the hammer to be working with. That's going to do quite a bit for him to open up the floor. There's a lot of soft destruction. These 2 are the soft destruction characters. Long sight line here being checked by Bubba as he's being hunted, but Salty Archer just cannot find the head, can't find that line of sight, and Bubba gets to go right back to peek and just trying to harry Toaster, but there's too many traps left all around and no intel to be clearing him with.
Not a good early round for gathering much intel on Platteville, gathering much information on how you want to attack these sites, because your knees were kind of taken out from under you very early on. So Barton, they're going to be left sputtering, going over to Aviator Games, and that first round, I feel like it was a little bit of a gimme for Platteville. They just came out nice and swift, got a few stabs in, and immediately just walked away with the win, and there wasn't much Barton could really do. I mean, the only kill they got was to Lockdown, and that's basically because he was right in their faces.
Yeah, at the point, he's given himself away for that double kill. Overall, a really commanding first round for Platteville. They're looking quite comfortable here. And speaking of comfort, this is the comfort objective on this map for most teams, where we see a lot of teams going first even. This one has a lot of hard walls to be working with. You don't have to be so concerned about the vertical pressure. no more buck even, so you're not going to have shotgun holes taking out the floors beneath you. So a totally different problem to be dealing with from the attack.
Sensor on. Let's see what I can find.
Talked about the new season, and Solus comes with that new season. She's the newest operator. There is no quarantine, so she gets to be played right off the bat. To the dismay of some people, because she is strong. Trezor, she can spot drones through walls, and that's kind of her main shtick. She can make sure that somebody's going on a flank, that's immediately taken care of. Any round drones can get shot down by this Solus, so Barton always has to be careful of how they're playing with these mechanical sightlines they have.
Yeah, it does get you down to those basics. You can't rely on your drones. You can't rely on your utility nearly as much. Bubba doesn't get to have too much impact on this one beyond this point, though. Head taken off by Neymar. Finding some revenge on that last round, shutting down the 2-kill holding player for the defense and taking away some of the utility. There's still a lot of traps to be working with, though. University of Wisconsin-Platteville is looking to play that long game between the Wamai, Smoke, and Capcan. Those are all gadgets that just give you more value the longer you can tick down the timer.
So far, just kind of waiting for some engagements to happen, and Murray, they do notice that, yes, there is a Yana looking directly at them, and eventually you will see Platteville just kind of wait for the rest of this attack to come, and Barton slowly potentially walk into what potentially could be a nice and ensnared trap if Lockdown and Murray play this well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful angle that they're holding across this long hallway into Classical. All of the eggs are in one basket for Barton right now. They're all fully coming down from Master Bedroom, the same kind of attack that we saw on round 1. But this time they're facing a much more deadly angle if Murray does walk up those stairs and try and threaten them. Ooh, doesn't need the support right now. Lockdown finding another kill. That's 3 in these 2 rounds for him. Salty Archer is finally going to shut him down. No double kill on that angle. Murray a little late to the party, finds a headshot, however. Talos out of it, but he can't find a second one. He's going to have to take a long retreat back. He's got the suppressor, though. It's going to make it easier for him to hit from another unsuspected angle.
And the potential threat of even Murray still being there is enough. You can see Salty having to divert the attention away from the site just to watch the red stairs. And Murray isn't coming from there. He's all the way back to the main stair. But now, as Barton had gotten the vault door open, they can potentially use that as a sightline against Platteville defenders, or just take their time, take out players that are still inside the site, like the Smoke, and go for that default plan. But as Urfi's legs are blown up beneath him, it's going to make it just a little bit harder.
Yet if you're confused there, that was a pre-placed C4 from Robo, so he could be holding this angle as soon as he sees someone pushing up, taking out his smoke. He's able to pull it from below, and there finally we get that flank out across. Murray is the only one left alone for the defense. It's the 1v1 against Salty Archer.
And, well, no diffuser in hand. It seems that this round will go to Platteville, but Murray, there's a chance.
Not quite.
That's too scary of a chance, I think. Like, at that point, you know that they don't have the diffuser. You just need to run. Like, you cannot risk getting shot in those final, like, milliseconds.
Yeah, especially not knowing where that final attacker is for sure. I would hop in a corner, wait for the timer to come down, and with it sitting on 0, you know if the clock keeps going, you're ready to run out and bring that gun to bear. You got a faster ADS time with an SMG as well. Actually, I think I'm a liar. He's got the rifle, the AUG going anyways. But nevertheless, they got to be looking at the computer. Their hands are busy.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, Platteville, they walk away with a round win. And now they get to go for that cycle, that 3-round rotation that you really want. Because, I mean, if you beat your opponent at all 3 sites, you get the chance to go back to a site you previously won. And then the attack is kind of left sputtering.
Yeah, University of Wisconsin-Platteville just hasn't really had the answers through the attack from Master Bedroom side. I'd love to see if they have something else in their pockets, especially now that we're looking at a trophy side defense. It's pretty hard to access this directly. Not undoable, but putting all 5 of your players moving through Master side directly towards objective, you're facing the strongest side of the defense for Platteville. They have made it through this side previously, but things will be quite different with this mute being here to shut down the drones even more than before, more than the Solus would have otherwise. We've got this wall directly from Statuary looking into Master, so there's definitely going to be someone watching that once we get to these first 30 seconds of the round.
Also have to see, with the amount of dedication that Platteville are putting into the closet, somebody has to be playing there. That's exactly what's going to happen. Lockdown with 2 ADSs and a mute jammer is basically hunkering down, trying to see how much time they can waste, how many bodies they can dispose of before either A, they're killed, or B, they get away with their life. And now, that mini game that some people talk about will begin, and Lockdown's life. Is it on a timer, or is it going to be potentially immortal with how much he's just distracting away from the attack?
Ooh. Yeah, he's under heavy fire here. He's been droned out. He's going to find the shotgun shot, checking the window again. Another flashbang comes out. It didn't stop him before. He doesn't anticipate letting it stop him again. Unfortunately for the offense, Toaster was the player with the diffuser, now stuck in this closet with a shotgun. The Mossberg right on top of it. Namor finds another kill as well. Oh, but gets downed back in exchange. Another shotgun taking more names.
And shockingly, Toaster just kind of hops in by themselves, and now it's just a lot of members of Barton trying to perform individual miracles with Salty Archer on board window. They do get that kill that they needed with potentially another jump in, but it is still one man behind with Lockdowns, who has still not been displaced from the closet, still has eyes on Diffuser, and with how solo of a game Barton is playing, Perfy will probably jump in with Salty Archer all the way back in Trophy. It's not a real kind of chemical equation that's leading to success.
Yeah, at this point, you're baiting the one player who has a chance at getting that diffuser all the way into objective in order to get a kill. Salty picking up 2, but sort of just off of the deaths of his teammates there, which doesn't give him as much. I mean, our first big mistake here, jumping in the window with the diffuser. And I know it's so tempting sometimes because you know exactly where your opponent is in there. You've got the drone until it's fresh, and you anticipate them probably running out, going for the rotate. You have the opportunity. You've got your rifle ready to go in your hands, but you're the hard breacher. You're the diffuser carrier. You can't risk it. Like, your life just has to be more valuable.
I think that is a problem that Barton seem to be having. They're playing very solo. And kind of, it's going to sound we're playing outside their oriented roles. Like,
yeah.
If you're an ace or a smoke, you need to stay alive.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
See, here even is further thought. I think it's looking like Salty is probably our main entry frag on the roster. He's able to function pretty well on his own here, and he splits some angles quite nicely. But supported with some active droning, I think you would really see him be able to flourish. And it's okay to rely on one player for getting a lot of your kills, and especially your opening kills, as long as you can make sure that it's consistent and that it's where you want the fights to be. I think that would put Barton in a much better position. I don't have a direct line to Barton's team here, so I anticipate we'll be seeing more of the same. So they'll be looking to get as much value off that split push as possible. I think it's on our supports just waiting on those secondary fraggers to find that entry point into the offense.
I mean, I agree with you. I think instead of saying throw your body in walk-in closet per se, use the drones that you have. You know, if you risk a drone, you don't risk your life, and that's the most important thing. So we are going to see a lot of drones being used by Barton. It's actually to assist Neymar through this red hall. The speed at which Barton is moving in this round has been unprecedented by their previous 3, but if they're not careful, they can very easily get caught out by one of these 5 Platteville players.
They do get to keep their IQ beyond the first 20 seconds. No run outs to speak of so far. Ooh, oh, ahead is sighted. Neymar is not going to hesitate while Lockdown is thinking it's still prep face, throwing out his gadget, hoping it's a quiet corridor, and it's just not. For the first time, the numbers advantage starts out on Barton's side. This is exactly the kind of change that they want to be seeing, especially with this switched up offensive plan. They've cleared so much space through the first floor, they have near dominance of it. They just need to find where Robo is, and I'm sure they have drones placed on main stairs and Red. The human drone, though, on Red has been removed by Frosty, so evening up the number.
I was gonna say, well, I don't think they do have drones. Otherwise, you might have caught out Frosty. Now somebody is going to have to get this happening. Somebody's going to have to either send a drone with the assistance of a player. Something has to go out. And with Frosty literally throwing mortars from the second floor, you can't just ignore that.
Ooh, yeah, Salty's in a weird place here, sort of cut off from his team. But the defense doesn't suspect that he's over here. They threw that C4 as a deterrent, and now he's behind enemy lines. That's going to give him quite a bit of potential to do good for the team. There's no one watching by the stairs where he is either, but he doesn't have hard breach to get in either.
Frosty cannot stay alive that much longer, but Bubba still is, with 2 players left alive. A lot of C4s still on the board. Maybe something will get a kill, but with 1 left, and there needs to be a kill on the side of Platteville. It's not going to come from Murray. Is it going to come from the only player left alive, Bubba? 1 down in Library, a 1v3 with no diffuser currently down, but Salty is going to change that. Bubba taking time. With 20 seconds left, they don't have a lot of space with a great shot on an AMR and cannot find the shot on the player backing up beyond the diffuser. There's a lot of time for this player to work with. They don't have the C4, but they do have the skills to pay the bills, and now is the time to truly show their prowess. Moving through Memo, you are going to see these flashbangs roll on through, but it doesn't affect Bubba in the slightest, and unfortunately, they just turn quick enough. There is Barton winning their first round.
That is good to see for them. And really great performance from our Buck player there, opening up our first kill and playing safe, finding his spot on that back angle that just could not be watched by the number of eyes that University of Wisconsin-Platteville had as they dwindled in the dying moments of the round, forcing Bubba into a position where even if he's getting these kills, finds a double kill, shuts down the final back line of the Barton's attack, he just has nothing left to work with, and it's not that kind of defense where it's going to hold its own. There's no more traps left in the kitchen and no more smoke to throw canisters, just an MPX to work with.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
The
being
MPX,
defused by attackers.
you kind of saw in the hands of a good player, it's a headshot machine. It does do a lot of body damage, but if you just kind of angle your crosshair right, like a lot of these players on Platteville are, it can be just a nasty little machine. But as Barton have to work their way over to this Aviator game site, I mean, what do you think is the successful rate? What we've seen from Barton and Platteville, do you think you take a 4-2, or do you think it's possible we do see a 3-3?
Well, this is the first time we've really seen a round that was not dominated by the defenders. So, I don't know. It's a full new rotation, it feels like. And I'm really curious to see what we do find from Barton. They've kind of got a little bit more of a read on University of Wisconsin-Platteville, but I'm not entirely convinced that they're sweeping it from here. So, if I were to guess, I'd hazard for a 4-2. Especially with that dominant first rotation.
I mean, Lockdown was down first. Currently, their kill leader, Bubba, not far behind, but I mean, with how aggressive Lockdown has been, I think that's something that Barton really can take advantage of. And Lockdown needs to be careful, because if they keep doing what they've been doing, it's like a free kill for Barton.
Right, a little bit slower of ingress from the attackers, but a lot more ground covered by the drones. I think they're going to look to fan out pretty fast once they get in the building, just like on last round. That was a formula that ended up working for them pretty well. We got a few roamers that are working without too much to attach from. If Bubba dies or gets into a gunfight, he's not going to have anyone to come and actually support that. He's just looking for a one-off kill that he can slink away from.
Well, it's still that slow round that you mentioned. Bubba needs to be careful. There's an air jab up on these Astro stairs. Barton will hear that, turn around, and potentially kill this alibi right here. But Ace turns on the stairs, gets their first kill of the entire match. And of course, it is assisted by Neymar, who's lighting up in the kill feed. With Platteville really having to reel back into the site. With Lockdown holding the shotgun, by this little corner, and Frosty Games with a good shot onto Neymar's. Well, you hope the bullets will stop firing for the sake of platform.
Ooh, Lockdown playing this cheeky angle. The drone's really going to shut him out of this position, though. Suddenly, there are 3 players around this corner that are very aware of his location. The flashbangs are coming through. They've been nasty against him before, but they wait too long. Salty's going to go down. Oh my god, and so does Urfi. Lockdown just keeps holding this angle. He's got the hope for the defense as Frosty finds a second one as well with the SMG. Dalos is the only player left for the attack. No diffuser left in the hands. He has suddenly lost all knowledge of what anything's going to be. There's no front line. Nobody has eyes for him for the last 10 seconds. He's got to try and fight this angle again, and there's smokes coming through. He does find the kill, but Frosty's back here looking to find his third on the round.
Lockdown is simply different. He's just like that. Shooting up the Barton attack in flames. I mean, that flash, it felt like his days were numbered. He turned around, there were 2-3 Barton players standing right around the corner, and they didn't push. And just like that, you've got Platteville getting for potentially 5 as we go back to this trophy statuary site, of which Lockdown was a nuisance inside of the Lockdown walk-in closet, excuse me. Lockdown is kind of that main boogeyman that Barton has to deal with, and they just can't.
Yeah, it looks like, just like you said, Barton's won every round where they first picked Lockdown so far. There's not a lot to work off of. It's one singular round. But in 3 of these rounds, he shut down the entire push on his own. Like, well deserving this 8-4. Not getting the 3K on last round, but making it so possible for Frosty to shut that one down as well. So the SAS operators doing so much for Platteville right now. What do you think that Barton does to deal with Lockdown from here, though, especially on this objective?
I think it's more of a synergy thing. Like, the problem, I think, is the best exemplified by what happened last year on the side, which caused us to think, like, hey, maybe use your drones a little bit more. They don't really have that synergy that you sometimes need to execute some of these attacks, because attacking can be difficult. And once you kind of get that synergy chemistry locked in, it makes things a lot easier. And Barton are just, they lose a little bit of that ebb and flow. And I don't think they're going to be able to deal with Lockdown as long as that's really been a problem.
Oh, Lockdown finds a spot for his jammer, and just in time with those bullets singing through right by his head. He's looking to make that same play. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's looking to make that first pick once again. C4 have not been doing him dirty recently. That one's going to go out. He does not know how close he was to taking a life away, though, and he doesn't know how close everyone is to him. Those blue outlines right outside the window that he's prepping for around 4 angles. It's not going to be doable for him to run out on this. No drones either in here. Actually, checking that out. They don't know he's out of the closet. Neymar does get the first pick once again for the attackers, finding Bubba. And Dalos finding this other angle. Yeah, it's just not doable for Lockdown to keep running around in the closet. There's so many angles.
I was just wondering, like, how long would he be able to go on this? How long would he be able to stay alive in walk-in closet? But with Lockdown, potentially the Platteville defense starts to crumble with a couple kills. That can change. Frosty almost hits a round-changing shot, but Toaster stays alive for the time being. With 2 Platteville players up against 3 Barton attackers, the time that's left really does benefit Barton, and you're going to see that with Frosty Games pushing when he really shouldn't. Leaving Robo in the 1v3, just firing bullets all around him, 360 directions. The shield against him in this engagement, and 4-2 is going to be the best Barton can do with this one as we swap sides.
Well, they're looking a lot more comfortable. That's a really commanding round, especially with round 5 looking pretty nice until that flashbang incident on the corner against Lockdown. We do keep that trend going. Lockdown gets first picked. Barton gets the win. I even would have thought that maybe the move is avoid him entirely, especially if he's just holding corners with a shotgun. But I'll give them full credit. They knew better than me on this one. And I think a lot of the problems that we're seeing from Barton in these first 3 rounds where they just couldn't find much purchase against Platteville's defense. Really, I think I could chalk it up to week 1 map 1 of the season. It looks like they're kind of getting back together and gelling and finding that speed. It's stuff like not swinging immediately on your flashbang, not throwing them in front of everyone else. These are like these easy issues to fix when you just go back and look at it and go, oh, like, these are things we can just act on and do next time. So I don't even think they're in a bad spot, and I think they'll give us a much more lively half here on.
I think that's something to definitely work on a little bit, is because this is so early. Maybe some of these teams haven't had some time to just kind of get into the groove with each other and kind of seeing everything work out as we go along. So maybe by the time we get to like the middle of map 2, maybe map 3 if we do get there, we're going to see a nice and synergized Barton attack. But the Barton defense that we see so far, a cap can, a lot of grenade denial, Neymar Jr. as well on the Valkyrie, because I mean, she wasn't banned. We've seen her in like every single round, and that information has been very important to a lot of the defenders.
Yeah, this is a mirrored comp to what we've been seeing from Platteville as well. All really nice, well-rounded operators. And we'll see what Barton's able to do with it compared with this Platteville attack. I think they're also running the same default lineup as we're seeing from Barton, so it will be a really nice juxtaposition for us.
I think like the Lion, we saw Lion on a couple rounds.
We saw him on like at least 2, I think, right?
Yeah, I think Ying was something that Salty Archer really did like to bring. That is not here as popular as she is nowadays, surprisingly. I think the Candelas just create so much chaos that certain players can thrive in. As Platteville, they've got to do a better job of dealing with the roamers than Barton have. And I think sending their drone, realizing where Toaster is, you have to see the encirclement that Platteville has. Taking them out here could be huge for the rest of the round.
This is some nice cohesion we're seeing from the attackers. Droned out, Toaster gives some ground. That sledgehammer in order to make a second angle to be watching with. Ooh. Okay, C4 doesn't quite land there. I think hit the windowsill instead. If it had gone all the way to the ground, though, that would have totally taken out Frosty for rappelling downwards. Maybe not the best move in such a scenario. I think another C4 goes out here just under lockdown, but he's still hanging on. Plenty of health to keep trucking.
Oh, wow, that is... feels like it's out in the middle of nowhere for this side. I think Neymar might have been prepping for a window jump out. Like, I think that's... Barton's lockdown is Neymar. You got your top fragger on both sides. And with Neymar gone, somebody is really going to have to pick up the slack, and it's not going to be Toaster.
Yeah, Toaster was slippery earlier, but just losing to ADS timing on that fight. Another one down an objective. Frosty's popping off once again. Another triple kill and a quad kill to finish it out in this round. Very interesting difference between this play. Got the Bolo charm on Zofia versus his smoke play earlier.
Guys, when does Bolo play?
When's Bolo playing NECC?
When is Bolo playing? Period. What do you mean?
Heartbroken. Heartbroken.
Sad, very, very sad. But so maybe somebody will pick up the mail. Maybe it's one of these players, this Platteville. I mean, 5-2 scoreline. That is pretty impressive, and especially coming off of that round with Frosty Games, who did have a good defense, but it still felt like they were relatively quiet. They were on the smoke. They got a few kills here and there, but then immediately, first attack you're on, they just come in and slam their foot right in the door. Get 10 kills. They were the first in this entire match to get to that checkpoint, and I mean, it kind of feels deserved with how Platteville is 5-2 scoreline.
Yeah, I'd be interested to kind of go back and see what the pressure was on main stairs from the defense. It looked like I'm a Toaster rotated away from it, got killed while moving into position on Classical Corridor's corner. And then from there wasn't anyone left to protect the backside of site. We had our Vigil standing there, you know, completely not ready behind the bar. So quickly his defenses have fallen away behind him. So main stairs seems like a place that needs to be a focus next time on this defense. Lockdown gets the first pick, shuts down Neymar for spawn peeking, it looks like. Makes sense from a Vigil.
So, if Neymar has been involved in 7 out of the 8 opening duels. Currently, 3-3, but to say that Neymar is very active to the early mid-round, I think is an understatement. But in the last 3 engagements, they've been 1 and 3. So, it's like I said in the previous round, somebody kind of has to pick up the slack when your top fragger goes down, and I don't know if anybody's been able to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be about keeping this ground for a lot longer. Oh, it's the slow, methodical push from Platteville. If they get really stuck in one room, it's going to do so much to take away from their attack right now. But they found 2 kills, still keeping up that numbers advantage. It's going to take someone really gunned down, especially with the comp that is left for Barton. The only utility that's going to really slow down players other than gunfire are smoke grenades, and you want to save those, especially with 1:30 left. Those are only covering 30 seconds of time in one place, so they're not going to be nearly as strong to leverage for another full 60 seconds.
With how quickly Platteville works, they can afford some leisurely time with how many players are left, how much utility has been kind of taken out. There's no more C4s besides the one in Urfi's pocket. And if they can actually start taking away a lot of the smoke canisters, which will start to be drained because of how close they are to the site, everything's kind of coming up orange in this game so far, with Platteville's colors, of course, and their color in game. But Frosty walking up those stairs, quickly taken out as Dallos regains a pivotal map control that Platteville unfortunately loses. That, I mean, they can't really gain that back.
Yeah, there's the main stairs defense that I was just talking about, too. So I think that's going to change things a lot. Of course, 3v3 count going into the end of this, and the smokes are a lot more relevant now, getting under 40 seconds. So wall has been opened into vault, but Salty's able to watch it, and Urfi has this close angle also watched by Dallas. So 2 players are going to have to be taken out in map room for this to happen, for our 2 orange players moving up with the diffuser. So this is the most concerning angle. Robo down. That means that Bubba is alone with the diffuser. He's going to run for it. Yeah, there's nothing's going to make it worth the risk of losing diffuser on this side of objective. He's got to link up with Lockdown, especially with how Lockdown's been shooting. There's still 3 defenders, but Lockdown is going to shut one of them down. Absolutely, all 3 of the kills under his name. This diffuser's gonna have to go down, but Bubba has gone down to Urfi, still holding that close angle in sight, being their eyes on the diffuser through the end.
That is some of that lack of synergy that Barton had. I mean, one of those sites was essentially clear, and all Platteville could do was, because of the time, was push that main aviator site, and that was what led to the downfall. I think if you get your ace all the way over to that game's area, you're able to get the diffuser down, of which you still have Lockdown alive, and the round just changes like that. But Barton doing a defensive round, they get to go to Trophy Statuary. I mean, the fact that the round was so favored in Platteville's side, and yet Barton was still able to just carve their way back, does say a lot about what Barton has in the tank, despite what we've seen.
Yeah, I think if they went back and did that again, Platteville absolutely would send Bubba and was this Robo, who's still up, down through games, just clear through there, because that's not where Urfi was. Urfi would have to be, spinning around to try and find him, and Dallos is still stuck out in study, so pretty much down for the count for a while. If they just struck at that point where they had opened up, then they would have had an easy defuse for them right there. Instead, they had to take a lot of individual gunfights, and it seems like the problem I was seeing at the beginning of that round, I was like, I don't know if this will be worth mentioning. It didn't kind of come up until the very end of the round, where it's like, well, everyone's kind of playing an individual attack from Platteville. Worked out when they win all the gunfights, but when they don't, you get trapped in those last 30 seconds of the round, especially with smoke canisters or any other kind of damaging traps.
It's like when it works, great strategy, guys. You guys are so good at winning your gunfights, and when it doesn't, you just kind of look like a 5-stack, just kind of hugging it. And, well, it's kind of a high risk, high reward, having a lot of faith in your players to win gunfights. Don't know if it's good for the long term, but so far, I mean, Platteville, they're winning 5-3. How long will that stay? I don't know. The Toaster definitely needs to stay alive over in this Aviator Games. Well, they're alive for now. I don't know how much longer that will be. It will be 2 minutes and 6 seconds. 2 minutes and 6 seconds will be time of death for Toaster.
That's tragic. Okay. this has also been told. Now the defense knows for sure that there is a blitz coming to the table. He's taking out some of these cameras. Still alone, though. And this is a character that's a little more concerning to have all alone. Another kill for the attackers right here as Neymar is trying to find another first pick. A little bit late to that party, but he is going to go down, so twice the feels bad for him. Bubba's droning himself in here, I think, but he's got plenty of space before he actually has to square up against defenders.
We were in this position previously. It was a 2-man advantage for Platville around there, and then it just slowly started to get chipped away. With how much time was on the clock, it just felt like it was Platteville's round to lose, and that's exactly what happened. Are we going to see the exact same thing happen? Lockdown, the frag grenade goes wide. Bubba falls as well, and with a 2v2, a 2v1, Murray, the player who has one of the lowest kills in the game right now, is going to have to win a 1v2 to put Platteville on map point. They head over to this landing area, see that deployable shield, and can't really do much about it as Salty Archer springs right up and just inches Barton closer to tying this one up.
Yeah, this is what Barton has been needing, some clean defense, taking early picks. And once again, Platteville is punished for the fact that they're playing apart from each other. We see an SMG-11 kill a little bit early, right over into Statuary from Trophy Room. That is pretty early. That's a weird place to be losing your first death in the round. That's pretty deep into sight, and it's some place that his teammates couldn't actually get in there to refrag for. They couldn't get any leverage off of it, so they lost their first kill for naught. Their blitz is alone and getting smoked out, which means that he either needs to rotate somewhere else or hop on those cams and provide full utility to the teammates for as long as possible going in. And Lockdown shut down on Staircase. He's got a grenade for the top of Astro Stairs, but without anyone to cover him from another angle, no push from Bathroom. That makes him vulnerable for about 2.5 seconds as he preps that grenade to actually throw. It's just almost a comedy of these individual errors. It's the devil's in the details, right, Lyros?
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, that's what Siege is. It's a lot of mini decisions building up to a large result. And that's either round win or round loss. And I think that definitely exemplified by what Platteville does after they get those opening kills. Like, they got that in round 8. They got that in round 9. Both of those are round losses. And it's because a lot of that in the middle of the round, there's a lot of small decisions being made when it comes to positioning, when it comes to utility play, that just don't lead up to the round victory because the puzzle pieces just don't fit together in the end. And I think that is something that both of these teams have in common on the attack. Is Platteville, they've gotten opening picks time and time before, but that hasn't resulted in round victories. What happens if Barton gets an opening pick?
Ooh. Yeah, they're going to have a lot to be able to shut down the offense. Like, they'll just choke them out at this rate with what we've been seeing from the attack. Finally finding some ways in. The attackers aren't making a lot of progress right off the bat with a lot of small arms fire going out from either side. It's a bit of a stalemate we see. From up top, not too much movement. Robo has finally gotten in there. He's going to do actually quite a bit for the team by locating some of the more impactful devices down below. Notably not including Pulse.
Yeah, I mean, don't have somebody to really gather information. I mean, no Valkyrie, nothing like that. Coaster is down again. I mean, you think that would be like a very big detail to notice, but it hasn't amounted to much with Platteville, and it's one less than they would usually get. I think this vertical destruction, this rooting out some Barton members maybe could lead to a victory, but I just don't have faith in Platteville. And Bubba has so much risk doing this, but it completely takes advantage of the fact that Barton has their head just spinning in a circle. Eventually, Bubba does go down. So far, Platteville, with about a minute left, does have an advantage.
Another kill coming out from Robo, but Neymar here finding his first kill in a couple lines to 3 here. Gonna go down, but that's gonna do a lot to make up for a few fights not going quite his way. There's only 1 defender left, 2 attackers, but Lockdown has barely any health, so only a little less to work with for Salty Archer. That scan isn't gonna do a whole lot to him. He's not really gonna be using any devices, not anything too relevant nearby him. He's got some frost mats to work with. Those could come out big. There's 2 more of them sitting around, to my knowledge, at this point. And no drones for the attackers. Everything has to be face checked. Lockdown is going in first, definitely the one with more gun skill to his name we've seen so far. Yep, Salty hearing this, he knows what he's got to be looking at, and this is a great kill hole for him to work with. 1 bullet connecting with Lockdown is going to mean the end of that round, especially now as we're getting these last couple of seconds, but Robo holds the angle just fine to keep this going. They don't need too much health on Lockdown. He's gonna clean everything up.
The reflexes were a bit quicker. If Salty Archer was just a little bit more inhuman, maybe it's a different round, because that small little hole just... What could have been, you know? For some pre-firing, who knows? All I know is Platteville now are up 6-4, but they have to win either Aviator or Trophy, if that's what Barton wants to do. And they definitely struggled with that. It was combined with the opening kills, combined with a lot of stagnation that cannot happen. And a lot of that does come down to what calls are being made. How does Platteville want to center themselves when it comes to a lot of these, you know, doors? They center themselves basically around default door, and that's just a kill hold that Barton can fire away, use smoke canisters, and at the end of the day, they get around victory with not much of Platteville putting up a fight.
Yeah, so far in Aviator, we've seen it go both ways. Round 1, an absolute stomp for the attack, running up through Classical Hallway, both from main stairs, and getting a couple lucky gunfights through this other hallway on the north side as well, and then they're able to storm in through sight. The second time, though, I don't remember for sure who it was, but one of the players for Platteville coming up main stairs was shut down pretty immediately, and suddenly that lack of backside pressure to sight really silenced them, and they couldn't really make any more progress forwards. Now that drone's gonna stay alive for now, it looks like.
The worst feeling. It's like, you're right there. Why can't I kill your drone?
Please.
I see it.
I have the wall hacks. I deserve it.
That is definitely an annoying part of Solus, is seeing drones that you just cannot destroy. But alas, as is a pretty strong character, comes their, I guess, drawback, some could say.
Yeah.
But
it's the curse of knowledge. Sometimes you have to resist the urge to use it.
That is true. It's tantalizing, but at the end of the day, Solus's ability still to see those drones is always going to be an important gadget. Like, for example, Solus can see Lockdown on his phone, and if that was communicated, Toaster could take advantage of that, maybe get a C4 kill, but, well, positioning is positioning, and Toaster is going to position themselves all the way back on that first floor, meaning that, I mean, this northern side is clear for the taking.
Yep, no more players for the defense here, and once again, that door into map room is going to be a huge focus for this round. Yeah, that's all 5 players from Platteville on this side. So we've got 2 doorways here that are going to be where we have to move up to next. There's no pressure from the defense on it either. There's just drones going out for the offense. Yeah. The Roteros, without any additional pressure, aren't going to get kills. They're just going to be a little spooky, take away some utility, hopefully opening up that wall, making it pretty accessible. I don't think there's any denial on it in the first place, it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mute, there's no bandit. It's just kind of like, see how long we can keep them away. It's not going to be very long, as Toaster just hucks a C4. No, it was from underneath. Yeah. That is the roaming presence. And while your ace, or someone is going to be able to get open that vault with that secondary hard breach, it's just kind of that trade-off. You'll lose a pivotal player like Robo, and now, I mean, that wall isn't getting open. They didn't bring up. I didn't realize they didn't bring a hard breach.
Yeah, this is the second round in a row. Maybe more. I noticed it last round at the very least. And it's a risk. It worked out really well for them. They didn't have to waste any utility, had more offensive tools to use, but nothing went wrong that time. This time, Toast, despite going down, has put a full wrench in the attacking plan. Murray pushing up on a dangerous wall right there. There's plenty of feet holes. He's pretty visible. Oh, and he flicks just the wrong time. Salty finds this one. Neymar one as well, and suddenly the offense is falling all apart. Bubba all alone, finding plenty of bullets on Neymar, but it's not enough.
Seconds left.
And Death will be waiting right around the hallway. So, Barton, they've gotten a good amount. They're at 5, so we're guaranteed max regulation. But trophy statuary. I mean, it was a site that Platteville once again got an early lead and was eventually fumbled right up until the very end. Are we just kind of going on repeat? Are we looking at the same record looping over and over again? Somebody's going to have to walk away with this. And I just don't know who, because it all really depends on who starts on the attack. Honestly, both of these teams don't really have that strong of an attack.
Yeah, it seems like we're going for a lot of our standard default attacks, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're default. They're your standard for a reason. It's
Defenders,
generically
protect your
good in
bombs
most
from being defused
situations.
by attackers.
It's an execution thing on it. Just like those same little nitpicks, and we'll probably have them throughout this season and through every season forever. It's playing off your teammates, playing off of your intel, droning right ahead of your entry fraggers. That way they can shoot someone as soon as that drone sees it. Like moving in with those flashbangs, like we said earlier on the first half on Barton attack. These kinds of things, it looks like, are, from my point of view, what's giving us problems for these types of attacks.
10 seconds to insertion.
Oh, also over pushing. Actually, I've seen a couple of those. I want to get going. Like moving up, getting a kill. That's awesome. Sometimes you don't need to get a multi-kill.
Attacker's
Like,
objective is to
just
locate a bomb and defuse.
letting the defense know that you have an angle and that you can get a kill on someone in sight. If you hold that angle and wait for your teammates to get to their positions, then you're gonna have a much better execute.
So cool to see my name show up in the kill feed multiple times. Everyone will think I'm so cool.
Yeah. No, those are great too. I love the multi-kills we've been seeing.
You literally just were like, yeah, don't really go for that, and then are just like, yeah, I love the multi.
No,
You gotta
it's
commit. Don't
I know
encourage
there's a couple specifics. I didn't quite have a chance to point them out. I'll see if I can catch a few more if they happen again.
All right. Ooh, Neymar was just waiting by the drone hole, just kind of reading Frosty like a book there. So one of Platteville's real gunners, besides lockdown, taken off the board. And honestly, a really important round that Platteville does definitely need to win, because the fact that they were winning 4-2, they've kind of made their way all the way to overtime and now have a potential chance at losing this one. That will sting, and Frosty dying is not going to help that at all.
No. It's the precedent of letting this come all the way back to overtime after a dominant lead in the beginning of this game. Our attack is looking pretty quiet on Master's side, actually. Drones are doing their thing. Some more information is just necessitated for the attack to get much more right now. Once again, pretty separate from the attackers, working on 3 different angles. Those Roteros are doing a good job of opening up some utility as we hear a lot more explosions come across, a lot more things being activated. It's going to make it easier to actually just step into sight for them.
Like a massive sounds of utility going on. Nothing's really happening. No damage done to anybody. No kills. Either way, it is just a lot of explosions, a lot of shrapnel going back and forth, and some damage done to Salty Archer. Not enough to really be lethal, but maybe it will just push Salty Archer into a more favorable position that Platteville can take down. Bubba does take damage from that thorn trap, as now Diffuser is inside of walk-in closet, and Toaster with the hip fire takes out 2. What a play from them, as now it's just looking like we are naturally headed into overtime.
Ooh, yep, Robo's all alone right now. The attack just can't do it. A flawless round even. Yeah, this one is a case of not executing together. I think this textbook. Every single player from Platteville's attack died at a different time from a different angle. It gave Barton full luxury to communicate where the next one's coming from, turn around, get a gander at them, and ready their guns for that next fire. I mean, they had a lot of angles covered, and they've removed a lot of utility there. So they took a lot of the advantages away from Barton for holding angles. Honestly, I think it would have gotten a lot better if they just pushed all those same angles at the same time, right? Just overwhelm the defense with that hail. They can't watch all the angles. Suddenly, the fact that defenders are watching 3 angles from each spot, they can't watch them effectively now. They've got good power positions, but they can only shoot
Attackers
down
need to
one
locate and
corridor.
defuse as many
So
bombs as they can.
you're at least taking 5 1v1s instead of a 1v3, a 1v2, a 1v1, and then another 1v3, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the goal of the attack is, to limit these amount of solo engagements. Use your drones. The attackers, I mean, they don't really have. You have the natural advantage of information, of the ability to really position yourselves around the map as you please, as long as you have gained a sort of map control that you really need. Bible aren't really doing that. And the fact that they're starting on attack, I think, is going to be the worst part of all of this. 1, 2 on their previous sides. One of them was on Kitchen, and the other was on AVG. So currently, no wins on Trophy, and they're going to have to win one. Otherwise, it's really looking like Barton is going to steamroll their way to a comeback.
Yeah, overall, this has been a very defensive-sided match. So the advantage is definitely in Barton's side here, getting 2 defenses in overtime. Big rotate coming out from them. They're headed back over to Master Bedroom. I'm not sure what that change in calls would be. Lockdown's going to check this drone hole, make sure Neymar's not there. But that hasn't actually removed Neymar's line of sight here. Still looking for beat. Ooh.
Not a real person. That is a Gemini clone that Lockdown did send in. Probably not, the real person will probably not be sent in anytime soon, because I think with... Yeah, exactly, Lockdown. That is bad idea. No, don't do that. Because with all what we said, going in by yourself has just been Platteville's absolute doom. Great Rotero coming out from Frosty, putting down that shield. Toaster does fall, which has been a good entry for Platteville. In a lot of these, it's just been about making that, turning it into an actual victory, which hasn't been done yet, Treasure.
Woo! That grenade is going to hurt Lockdown, keeping more eyes, trying to find Neymar's feet once again, and at this point it would look pretty darn deadly. I love the Rotero that we saw actually removing the shield. It wouldn't be usable normally when it would just get shot out, except that there was a gunfire coming from the other side of Bathroom that's actually distracting the player on the shield, making it easier to remove Toaster. So that's a really big asset for Platteville here, and they're beginning of maybe turning this one around. Dallas gets another kill, even making it more comfortable for the defense.
I mean, Finka going down, I think, does hurt your long-term prospects, but if Platteville can find a way to get a kill or 2, especially with one like that onto Urfi, that means that Astro is just clear for the taking. Lockdown gets 2, and with only 1 player remaining, Lockdown with 3. No, Bubba stole that in the end, but we're just going to superficially credit it to Lockdown because they really cleared the way in that round.
Well, I guess... I guess it's one of those, if you're first pick in Lockdown, it is really determining rounds a lot. So that it definitely is a testament to what Lockdown brings to the team. Last time when we saw the same fight go out, same objective, Neymar versus Lockdown, shooting through that drone hole, back and forth with the Yana drones, Gemini's hopping in, getting shot out, drones going in, grenades. But this time, when he's ready for it, Lockdown was able to outsmart in the end and just outgun 3 in a row.
Yeah, but well, we've been here before. Platteville has had a lead and then squandered it at the last second. But this is the first time that they've been on defense in a whole 7 rounds. And when they were on Aviator games, they were flawless. No losses on their side on the defense, but Barton was flawless on their trophy defense, so a lot of traditions in this map kind of being broken, and it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to say Barton might have a chance at winning this Aviator games. I mean, they have to. We're done if Platteville wins, at least for the map.
Here's an interesting change-up. Bubba going for Ella this time, bringing the shield. I'm not sure what primary. I didn't catch that at the beginning, but that's going to add some more pressure on the backside of site. Again, it's been kind of a focus, I felt, for a few rounds attacking Aviator games. What effects the attackers are getting off of main stairs. Gives you really great access. over here towards Games Room and Classical Hall, and that's been where most of these attacks have been leveraging to get into objective.
Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers recover the diffuser.
Spartan, I think they're still trying to signal where they're going. You have mostly northern side take, and you also have Neymar at this window, knowing that there's a good chance that they might get jumped out. Oh,
Nice little smiley face.
and nice little smiley face from Robo. There's lockdown, and that's about the best one-for-one trade that you could have in this entire game.
Bomb located by
The window presence, gone. Neymar, top fragger, Barton, gone. Any real roam clear besides a Nomad who's just anti-roam, gone.
That is a lot of pressure off the window. Like, besides the impact of Neymar in first picks, just having that off angle on Classical Hallway, the real bastion for most fighting that we've seen. We haven't seen a lot of roaming too heavily on Master Side or Trophy, so we see some utility go out, and then everyone goes ahead and gets on out of there, which is just about the same as we've seen from both sides. Lockdown just pushes up, though, through the smoke, finds two in addition to the one he already had, 2 shotguns. He's looking for that third one, barely missing out on it and losing to Dallas in the end, but he's basically put this round in its grave.
There's no way Platteville could lose it, right? Lockdown did so much, and Barton have so little on their side. I mean, what is an IQ scanner really gonna do here? There's no vigil, there's no pulse. It's just going to have to be the pure gun skill that Barton has, and that deployable shield on top of Red Stairs is simply a barrier that Barton cannot pass because there is a person behind it, whether they know it or not. And now with just the 1 IQ over in landing, every single player of Platteville just converges on her position, and despite it being a little closer than they probably would have liked, it's still Platteville who win Villa.
Yep, not the same path that we expected at the beginning, but the same result nonetheless. I think this really does speak to what an exciting match this has the potential of being, especially through map 2 and 3. Already a lot of great plays from both sides, but that tendency of having a little bit of a rough time from the offense definitely plagued the teams equally. I think this will be really interesting to see how they play out on Border, because Border doesn't have those same restrictions for the attackers.
I think I would like to see a lot more attacker-sided game because there were a lot of flaws that we saw in the attack for both sides that maybe could be remedied, like you were mentioning on Border. But, I mean, it's Platteville. They're up 1-0. They win Border. They take it all in the first week of NECC. We are going to go to a quick break between these maps, so do not go anywhere. It's just going to be a nice, short, itty-bitty break. We'll be right back. a nice quick little break, and we are back for map 2 between Platteville and Barton, and a very defensive-sided affair we saw on Villa. And now we go on to Border, which hopefully will kind of change that trend. I'm Lightrose, and joining me is the wonderful Treasure.
Howdy. Yeah, that was an interesting one to see, and we're going to have a total 180 in map selection here. You're talking about Border being a really offensive-sided map, so I think it'll do a lot more to turn this over and show us some more of those pretty sides of the attacks from both of these teams. There is a lot more leniency, a little bit more leeway, and a lot more opportunities, sight angles, where you can really just frag your heart out, come around corners, guns blazing on Border, and so much less space for operators to be hiding on the top floor especially. We saw that quite a bit where both teams were taking their time through the first minute and a half of the game, checking everything upstairs, and in Border there's just a lot less to check, so I think we'll see even faster paced gameplay as well.
And I'm always open for faster paced. I know the audience will probably be open to faster paced as well. So, I mean, going into Border, we've got Platteville, who really came out on their defense, struggled on their attack, and then you had the opposite side happen. As we get into it, we got Platteville on the attack. Do you think overall for this map the attack will be less? Or okay, do you think it will be better overall?
Yeah, I bet you we're gonna have more winning rounds. Definitely. We went 4-2 for both defensive sides. Yeah, so that was pretty consistent overall. The only outlier we really had was in overtime, where the attack and defense were won by Platteville, really pulling things together and taking back their match that they'd established at the beginning. So they're coming in this, of course, with that advantage. A Thatcher ban goes out once again. Looks like more of that comfort banning, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't really know who you want to go for, might as well just go for whatever you know. Ying, I mean, that is partially like a takedown of Lockdown, and also, yeah, Ying is kind of stupid sometimes, so whichever way you want to take that, I know the story would be a lot more engaging if it was simply centered at Lockdown, so we're just going to run with it.
Platteville. I'm target ban for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the Jackal ban earlier. I guess Ying is going to be a little more relevant of a ban too. So it's not like it's not a crazy target ban. You're not going out of your way to ban something real silly for one person, but I think it's a target ban that's very relevant at this moment, right?
No more one specific operator. Yeah, no, we're not there. As much as Lockdown and Frosty Games did, they could always be contained, even no matter what operator they go on. And I think Barton does know that as we go on to the first round of Border, and we head to probably Armory Lockers. I mean, that is just the typical site that everybody loves to go.
Yeah, that insta-lock from Lockdown on Yana, we saw him really excel in, especially at the end of last map with Yana, and she still just brings so much to the table, especially if you're operating on your own sometimes. Being able to drone yourself out pretty safely just adds a lot. Jackal coming into play as soon as he's not banned, and like that last ban that actually caught my eye was Valkyrie, because she was played in nearly every round last map when she was available.
Yeah, I mean, I think she could get even better usage because of Border's a little bit smaller.
Attackers
so you
need to
could
locate
get
and defuse
a lot more.
A lot of the map, right?
What was that?
You can see like a big percentage of the map, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say is because the map is smaller, we're gonna do a little bit back here. You statistically will see more of the map wherever you put those black eye cameras. That probably doesn't matter like at all, but it is kind of weird to notice. Is Valkyrie going out? I mean, talking about the bans, Jackal not being banned, I think that's... I think Jackal on this map is okay. Because it's not as roam heavy, you can definitely get some roam presence. But because it's not as roam heavy as something like Villa, I mean, maybe you could bring something different, like a Nomad instead of a Jackal.
Out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
This time, we are seeing more hard breach available. Right off the bat, Thermite, our archetypal hard breacher, he's not going to have the luxury of being able to open up like Armory Wall from a distance out on Repel. So coming up to this thing with his face is going to be a little more important, but so is having to actually remove electrification. Kaid gives you a lot of luxury of being able to place it somewhere that's harder to deal with, and there's no Rotero drones for the defense. Maybe Maze from below is going to be
Into the light.
And as Neymar just sprints around the map and looking at all these drones, seeing where... Here's the thing about Solo. She can spot the drones, but that's exactly it. She can spot where the push is coming from, relay that to the rest of these defenders, and then they can position themselves in the appropriate areas. And I think that's maybe what we have seen a little bit pushing over to office, a little bit repositioning towards that, looking over towards that break room area, and less dedicated towards archives. And then potentially you could see a change if Neymar really does call for that.
I like this right off the bat. Platteville shutting down a lot of rotation angles in objective. Yeah, we already know that most of this office space is open. This is where our first hard breach charge is going, and yep, no mute jammers over there either, so this is going to be opened up, and suddenly Salty, by taking his angle by this wall, has... Oh, okay, yeah. No, he's got the floor hopped out, so he's able to get out of there without having to play his full life for that angle, but that does lose a lot of pressure by office objective. Look at all this empty space, no blue outlines all the way to old base.
C4 doesn't connect. Even though you lose the flash closer, you still keep the gun, you still keep the body. So pivotal late round play. Martin has like 2 rows. Even with a minute left, they are spread around the map.
Let's see what I can find.
He knows that even
Nitro deployed.
you still have 4 people all the way up. You know, that somebody is in the bathroom, but they can't dedicate somebody to finding anything because time is left, Treasure.
Yeah, our plant denial has suddenly gone out the window. Both C4's gone, but the attack hasn't done a great job of getting themselves in here in time. That Kayet Claw is still up there. Yeah, EMP grenade is going off, but I think the trick is going to go off as well. So we have to face check this doorway in just a second. Yep, there it is. Watching the wide angle, not even looking for Kayet. Yeah, there we go. Marie is going to find the kill. They have to move into A objective. There's not going to be even an option to go for B. Luckily, Lockdown is already covering their angle into objective. Ooh, and Robo winning a fight. This actually gives a great opportunity to put that plant down. Bubba nearly prevented from... Yeah, he's got to move after that explosion. He is putting it down, though. The defense has to move on up.
You have run out of time.
Goalless! That was the reason why they won that.
Yeah.
And
I lied. They had a little bit of plant denial left.
that's the thing. We usually don't see impact as a plant denial, but when you got a soulless, he knows exactly where that diffuser is going down. He'll just throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. And just like that, Platteville could not deal with the roamers, and that was the real problem. Why Barton able to put their first defensive round on the board, and it was probably a little bit tighter than they would have liked, considering people lived alive on the side of Platteville, but a round win is a win, and I think that's what matters.
Hey, playing to the objective is 100% worth it. Not win a lot of gunfights, but they weren't given a lot of gunfights either, right? The attack kind of avoided fights at all costs. In fact, I think that was a slower round than any that we saw last map, where Platteville established a few good sight lines into objective, and they waited until the last 30 seconds to really act on it. Put them in quite a bit of risk, and I think that's what cost them in the end. It only took one action from the defense to take everything apart.
The last... Okay. Looks like everything's coming together, and then just one
10 seconds remaining.
fatal mistake.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I like me some. I think he can provide some explosive
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
gameplay that, I mean, with a little bit less grenade denial, only the one mine in play, he could really make.
Ooh, this is an interesting addition to the offensive lineup. Robo with Fuse. He can really wreak havoc, especially on a first floor objective from above, but that does mean that Platteville's definitely going to have to angle for topside pressure. That way they can clear out this roam, which is going to be represented by Dallas right off the bat. He's right above B as well, so he's going to be the first concern for Platteville.
So I cannot hide for really placing down any of those plus
Relocated.
Almost is. Waiting, I think the back. Toaster. The ITA is not going to have much range. Look behind you, Decathy Frosty.
No.
It's just completely unaware, and that just allows Frost to get out scot-free. And that's just a smack of the forehead moment right there.
Yeah, that is a rough thing to see, especially with how much we saw Frosty doing before really getting shut out of these first 2 rounds, like of gameplay just about entirely after those 2 early deaths. Robo still survives on a few HP, not a bad spot to be in, though still having all that utility to give to the team. And really being there for that plant in the end as well.
Moving on. And it's something like I said, too explosive. I think it's going back to the fact that heck seems like it's wrong, and then it's these micros mentioned very early on in Villa. Platteville, I think, desperation a little bit with these last hours of user not, and not much utility that much. Where's that user is a good shot.
Wow.
By lockdown could change the tides, but time is Barton's best friend in this situation. Platteville will have to go get that diffuser, go back to the site, make it clear enough
recovered their
land,
diffuser.
and that's a difficult situation to do.
Whew. Yeah, Lockdown and Murray just have to shoot their way into sight. They have this long angle, but Murphy's not going to peek this unless he wants to give his life away. Ooh, he sees Murray for just a moment, taking everything but the head away, and Lockdown just jumps right on top of him. He's giving away his life. Murphy does get refragged by Murray, and now it's the 1v1. Neymar has been all over the map, yep, and hiding out in lockers. He's going to finish off this last kill as well to get the round.
No shocker there that Barton just walks away because they had the intelligence, they had the knowledge, the information. And that's something Platteville just kind of lacked a little bit throughout, as the cycle Barton looks to complete as Platteville did in the previous map, but 4-2 seems to be the kind of goal overall between these 2 teams. They achieved that on Villa, and they might achieve that on Border, but so far Platteville, they're getting closer to kind of putting a dent in the Barton defense, but I think if this ventilation workshop falls towards the defense, that entire work could just be dashed away.
I'm fascinated by what's going on for University of Wisconsin
protect your bombs from being defused by
right
attackers.
now. They're gaining a lot of ground really early. I'm like, oh, okay, we're zooming on through, and then they stop. And the thing about getting some ground into objective or into the building and then stopping is that this is exactly what Neymar has been looking for. He's not really like shining like anything crazy on the kill board right now, despite them having 2 rounds that have basically been finished by him solely. But he's playing so well to his position, keeping that intel up, keeping all of his teammates well in the know, and getting the impactful, like these 2 impactful plays that entirely took rounds away for his team. Taking away the diffuser, getting that final kill by lurking around and giving his teammates other kills by getting them down. So Neymar getting huge impact just through intel and positioning, making sure that he's alive and in a position that Platteville isn't going to be able to double back to. He's playing the time game so much more effectively on his own, I think, really, than the entire roster at Platteville.
He's had some impact, but I don't think it's enough to really lean on the Jackal, because the roamers have been so elusive in spots where potentially the Jackal's not going to look with that INOX scanner, and it just kind of makes the entire thing a wash for bringing Jackal. And speak of the devil, there goes Jackal in the long arm. Impact a wee bit short, and Neymar will pay for that.
Yep, that is the first player down. That's totally different from what we've seen in our previous 2 rounds. Lockdown has suffered for it, losing a lot of health, but we've seen him take kill after kill after kill without taking a single bullet himself. So that's not really going to stop him, but it will put a damper in his ability to just keep wide peeking.
That is a good thing to take off the board, but it's still just the fact that it was down. Moving on from, of course, it's Neymar. Neymar now, as we get to about halfway through the round with Tosagon, Platteville getting to is a story that we've seen over and over again, and just the ending has always been a little bit of a sour taste in Platteville's mind. I think if they can change that, get a kill on the board, that third kill should solidify that, but I say that with just a twinge of doubt.
Well, 2 of those heals ended up going out for Murray, bumping up his teammates as well before he's been down himself. Bella's playing heavily on this server rack. Yeah, there's no reinforced walls by him, though, but the kill actually came from above. Attackers dropping down on Salty. He gets the kill, living on just 2 HP here. Bubba's down. I'm not sure if he knows that right now. Yeah, and that res has come out anyways. Lockdown pulling the defuse out while Bubba gets a line of offense. That's really going to be undeniable. That smoke does finish off the Jackal, though, but yeah, not even with the diffuser down. So Bubba is just fully alone. He's repelled up, so he's going to go for the full rotate, maybe giving away his location on the metal detector. He has no idea where Salty Archer is now. That's a crazy flank to go on.
10 seconds to go.
2 kills with 1 smoke grenade.
5 seconds remaining.
My twinge of doubt
Attackers
was
have recovered their
correct.
diffuser.
Potentially, as Bubba now is going to have to take the very long plunge, put that diffuser down. 2 seconds left. Salty Archer will get there in time. 1v3. 1 smoke canister gets 2 kills. What can you say about that?
Holy.
Besides, that was Platteville just kind of tossing that one out the window.
I don't even feel like I can say that, though. Even like Salty just did everything right, and in addition got a little bit lucky finding that Mossberg kill before.
How did Lockdown die in the smoke with that much health?
I think he was stuck on the desk, honestly. He was still staying really close to the diffuser, but I think he was trying to watch the angle into the main hallway by the front door. Although, I mean, I guess you could argue maybe that is on him for not getting to watch a different angle, especially if they're going to have a player on rappel watching out to the doorway anyways. Maybe it was some paralysis on options, which I'd love to watch it back and see exactly what that was. Like, obviously, your diffuser has to do his thing. He's got to be doing it right there. Going on rappel, Bubba was exactly where he should be. But Bubba had relatively low health anyways. He's sitting at like 40.
I don't know. It's just one of the things where I didn't see Smoke throw a second canister besides the one that already existed. I think it's still the problem of there was a 3v1 and everybody was just gathered in like a 10-foot radius.
That is true.
Like,
yeah.
That was it. And literally one spray of the SMG-11, if it was played correctly, could take all 3 of them out. There's still a lot of flaws that even if we go tit for tat with how the players were positioned with the smoke canister, only one that Platteville ended up losing. And that's still something we always just kind of have to keep in our minds no matter.
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at a full perfect rotation, and none of them have felt that perfect. There's no flawless rounds or anything. In fact, in the first round, they only got 1 kill for the defense in order to win the round, which is absurd to say, but they're able to do it. And with these 3 rounds in a row, every single one has commandingly ended for Martin, despite the path there being a winding one and really looking advantageous for Platteville throughout the first half from most of these rounds. Well, all of them, actually. All 3 of these look good for Platteville until the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the problem that Platteville seems to have is that right in the final chapter, put in the period, whatever like little sentence you want to say, that basically the ending is the problem for Platteville. Like they get opening picks, they get all of these things, and then it just amounts to Jack Squat because they just got a goose egg at the top of the leaderboard. And something has to change when it comes to calls in the last 30 seconds, when it comes to positioning in the last 30 seconds, because something drastic, in my opinion, needs to change.
no defenders are watching Armory Wall right now, and the utility on it has just been fully dealt with for the attackers. Oh, okay, we do have a player behind half wall, waiting, biding their time, but they're now in sort of a trapped position out there. They can't rotate out unless the attackers just head on out. Neymar's big flank has paid off for him. Bubba takes 2 of his teammates, though. Frosty another as well. I imagine we've cleared out a whole side of side. I'm not sure exactly where, though. Frosty got too overexcited to push in after opening up that wall, so now just walking down the barrel of a gun.
Bubba is in such light. Could try to put that diffuser down. That is not a real person. That is an alibi clone. And now the Thermite's exact position has been revealed. And Toaster's just going to take advantage of that. Completely goes over, drops the diffuser. And now Osa, over in Armory, enters the site and tries to win the 1v2 for herself. It's the ending that has always been the struggle for Platteville, and that's just going to haunt them. In the end, now Osa's position has been revealed by the alibi Prisma. Toaster just waits prone on the floor 4 in a row for Barton, and they are just looking towards these last 2 rounds with potential glee at the fact that a 7-0 is still possible.
Wow, after seeing a defensive-sided map on Villa coming to border and seeing it just so much more devastatingly so is just crazy. It feels like every single round a player on Barton is taking their turn to just give a masterclass to Platteville on what not to be doing, what flanks not to be leaving open. Toaster gets 3 kills basically just for standing in a decent position and being able to execute with it, taking off that defuse. Unfortunate to say, shoot, who had it? Was that Robo with the defuse going for a plant, like fully alone in office? There's the opportunity presented, but once again, no attackers are nearby to capitalize with that. No one's there to watch for you. You're just planting alone. Like, how are you going to defend that even if you do get put down?
Yeah, you're right, and Barton took advantage of that. Just skedaddled their way to archives. Robo couldn't do anything because they were just defenseless. Now, we'll go back to Bathroom Tellers, and this was a round that, I mean, it was 1 player left alive, and it's one of the things where Platteville still could have won round. And
it was a 1v1.
10 seconds left before insertion.
But it was a 1v1 where 1 player was shot in the back.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So that it is a little bit different. It's not exactly like clutch material there, because there were still players on Barton that were able to keep their hands clean of gunfights and just play solid positions. Well, a player.
I just would like to see a round end where Platteville comes out on top. That they actually kind of get the follow through. They stick the landing. I'm trying to. There's so many ways that you could just say they're not very good at putting the ending on the round. Neymar does get dropped from.
Where from?
I guess from the long hallway. Lockdown, I think that might have been. Doesn't know that they actually downed the person, so a revive.
Is that just a pre-fire around the corner? Oh, there's a hole. There's a hole, I betcha.
I think it still might have been a pre-fire. The revive doesn't come through. There's Frosty claiming 2. Does unfortunately die in the process, but it's a 2-for-1 special. And now with the diffuser right on the floor, it will get picked up. Platteville, you gave it your best shot, and now you just need to continue on the round, given the advantage you have.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, 2 players still on site here. They're going to be under an onslaught from Fuse. Yeah, all the one-mine gadgets, they are cleared. Grenades are going to be able to come through pretty freely after this moment. Bubba does still have 2 of them in his pocket as we clear out the objective. But Gallows has moved for a pretty big flank. Yeah, he's coming up metal stairs while his teammates hold their own in objective, while everything has been blown to bits around them. They are still perfectly fine. All 3 very healthy players for the defense. They're still very much in this, but those grenades could sting out against them.
We get to the mid. Salty had a little bit of a heart attack there. Dawson was immediately in the site. And
Yada
now,
jump scare, Yada jump scare.
yeah, I mean, I was jump scared a little bit, but now as Urfi and Archer just kind of sit back to back, the two brothers that have each other's back, they are really going to have each other's back now. As now we enter the last
Attackers have
third
recovered their diffuser.
of the round. It does start with a Dalos cap can trap kill onto a Platteville player, but now as in nobody is in that archive site, that could be a point of what Platteville could definitely exploit. 20 seconds left, and with Barton trying to stop the spear, that could be a great way for them to take it out. This might be Platteville's first chance at getting this round, and it will be. They get it done. It's one round, but they do get a good finish, Treasure.
I like that. They forced bad trades for the defense. They started off with a huge 2K to begin things. A cheeky peek doesn't turn out. The rifle sings out true, gets the down, and Frosty was able to run on over there to make sure to capitalize on it. And they've already put themselves at a fantastic position there. You're 4 versus 3 after that trade goes off. And so Platteville just continued to maneuver, play smart, force out options from Barton, make Barton move out of cover, make them give away their really strong power positions, like we saw in that last kill. Urfi, he's finally alone. It's a 2v1 at this point after a couple more trades, and he's just got to come out and try pre-firing things with an SMG-11. Against 2 people, there's only so much you can do to pre-fire. You got 16 rounds in the magazine. They've all got to hit their target, or you're just gone. Like, switching to the shotgun is going to take way too long in that clutch moment.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
4-2. It's still, there's still that Platteville get a 4-2, and I think the fact that things changed in that last round, that Platteville did get something, maybe will inspire their confidence. Right? It will allow them to win this site, to win. Yeah, it's not bathroom tellers. It is that workshop.
5 seconds to go.
It will be a little bit more winnable, but the commitment to the fuse
Attackers are moving
is
to
a little
defuse the bomb.
impressive, as Murray just does not want to budge from just bringing those cluster charges.
We're ready for
I like it. I think I like it even more on this objective, actually. With Bathroom just being a really good safe haven for the defenders. Workshop doesn't have that kind of protection over it, so you can clear out everything on the actual workbench side and really focus the defenders down to archives, where it's a lot more crunched up. There's not a lot more room to move, and that's where they got a lot of kills over here the last time we were in this objective. And if it weren't for getting a little bit waffled right on top of smoke grenades, they would have felt a lot better with that clutch up on archives after getting like 2 kills right there.
Nobody on this second floor, no C4s, which we can say they do have plans now because they do have that intact. They're going to have one less gun credit than deny. That plan, simply because I'm a toaster, does no longer exist. Lockdown looks away, almost has the kill evade them, but at the last peeks back, does trade their life, but it's Platteville still on top, a 2-man advantage, and now the drop might indicate that, yes, the plant is right around the corner, but there goes Frosty Games, and it seems that the diffuser might have gone down with them. Platteville, the wheels are starting to potentially come off, and they need to find some way to straighten themselves up.
Salty is right now that X factor for the defense. He was so on top of it, getting the kill on Lockdown through the wall just off of comms, knowing exactly where Lockdown was going to have to move after that last fight where he downed Salty's teammate, and immediately following it up with a shotgun kill when his location was sold as well. He's playing a longer angle. Again, this worked out really well for Barton in the clutch moments before. He's got the smokes again. Sim got his clutch earlier. Oh my god, I can't believe Urfi running right through that angle. That is very much a live fire one, and still getting it, not getting shot out as he ran by, and the numbers have evened again. Is Platteville going to give away this advantage again? Not through that gunfight they want. Bubba is going to beat out Urfi, but I don't know if he should have.
It's given Salty the chance to win yet another 1vx. And Platteville, they're not low enough to really get knocked out by those smoke canisters, and there is time to go get that diffuser. But Salty contemplating to go to the second floor.
Attackers recovered the
stay
diffuser.
on that first floor. The ping is going to indicate a drone as the diffuser
15
gets
seconds
set
remaining.
down, probably with Bubba watching overhead. Smoke canister goes out, but
Attackers
it's
are
just going to be a
activating bomb
little
diffuser.
too late and not even in the right position to deter Murray from putting the diffuser down. Second smoke canister goes off, but it's not even enough to obscure the position of the Archer as Platteville. They get 2 on the dying moments of the first half, and now they get to go onto their defense with a little bit of restored confidence that they would surely need treasure.
Yeah, just in time too, especially when you're looking at another 1vx against Salty, who just took them for their lunch money a few rounds prior in round 3 on the same objective. Nearly the same situation as well. Switching up the plant spot, making it just a guessing game for Salty. He's got to throw smokes and just hope he's going to catch someone. Really nice from them. Great adaptation to that earlier failure for them. Every conception I had about this map at the beginning has been shattered. I feel like I have no idea how this half is going to go.
Attackers need
All
to
right,
locate
well,
and
it's
defuse as
another
many bombs
4-2.
as they can.
Somehow it's ended up that way, right?
Yeah, I know. Crazy how that works. Platteville can get on their defense. I think there is a chance that Platteville do
Bomb
win it
located by attackers.
without going to overtime. Given what they, given how they kind of had like a restored mental by the end of that first half, I do see a world in which they just completely avoid overtime, win the match, win the match. But maybe Barton's attack will change. That is definitely
10
what
seconds to insertion.
compared to what we've seen from the maps from both these teams.
5 seconds to insertion.
If they shut down Lock, if they shut down Frosty and prevent them
Attackers
from
are
just
moving to
having
defuse the
their
bomb.
way all around border, maybe get Barton victories. That is really just amazing.
I said a weird thought. Remember when electrification would destroy friendly gadgets?
I still thought it did for like the longest time.
You were finishing up your points, and I was just staring at that up. I'm like, huh, ADSs really do just go on covered walls. What a world we live in,
I'm
isn't
so
it?
scared to like put mute hammers down next to electrified walls.
I know.
On walls because I'm like, I saw it get destroyed once.
Are we
and
becoming siege boomers?
I never want to do it again.
No, I remember having to be so finicky about that. Holy. Okay, grenades going out here to try and deal with a player behind half wall, damaging Bubba a little bit. Already lockdown going by the wayside. Really reads well for Barton.
So I mentioned that Martin deals with lockdown. They take care of Frosty. That's 50% of really the power behind Platteville taken care of. If they get the wall open with a good amount of time, and that's exactly what Neymar is going to do, that's going to allow the Ace to simply open every single hole in the wall. Despite the half of the wall being a little bit closed, it's enough to assert pressure onto the defense, and that's really all you want, especially with the amount of time that's still on the clock. Neymar makes his way up these metal stairs. It seems like he might. There could be a really good pinch coming out between the members.
Murray's got the sniper rifle. This actually can make this angle pretty darn interesting. The attack is already hard watching this. They do have a drone that's got really good intel on him now. I don't think it would be foolhardy to peek this right now. He's going for it anyways. Downstairs, we're having another parallel fight going on. Frosty's the one that comes out on top of this one, so that first kill going out and removing the diffuser. There's a C4 out there, or a Claymore, that's going to prevent anyone from really camping it too hard. And Neymar gets another one. Oh my god.
Yeah, Neymar
Dominance from below
is just underneath, causing havoc. 2v4, getting an opening attack round like this right off the bat, not giving Platteville a chance to respond at all. I mean, even missing the drone. I hate to highlight that, but it is really Barton kind of styling right now with how much dominance they are just asserting over this defense. But with 15 seconds left, there is still a small chance Bubba gets a kill onto the diffuser, and the fact that Neymar is no longer there from metal stairs, maybe we'll see a change of things. Diffuser has been hopped off of one kill onto Salty Archer, and just isn't there Bubba can't look everywhere at once, and there is Barton going up 5-2 on border.
Neymar was unstoppable. He got that 4th kill running upstairs where there was already a pre-fire readied. Just unstoppable there. No one went to go solve the problem of Neymar below sight. They knew about him for a while. He actually was the one to destroy the Kaede Claw. He was the one to be throwing grenades in the beginning of the round. He got that 2nd grenade off to actually get a kill and clear out Armory. There was a really good push built up by Barton's attack, and I mean, we didn't get to see how much they were doing because Neymar did the rest of the entire round on his own, which is crazy.
True, that is true.
There's like multiple levels of dominance. Like Neymar could do it on his own, and the whole team was ready to win a round really solidly.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Sometimes one player is kind of all you really need. And in this case, with Neymar just underneath, even though on the defense kind of wasn't there, you saw like Salty Archer doing a little bit more. Just like that, they are on top, 2nd next to Salty Archer. I want to say that yes, it looks like Barton is ahead, 5-2. So was Platteville. So Platteville was up 5-2 on Villa, and we still went to overtime in the end. So
yeah, we could have the potential for that full mirroring of map, but from here it just looks so daunting. I mean, already the Barton has half as many attacking wins as Platteville was able to get over their entire half. So just one more is gonna put Platteville, giving them that onus to have to win a round to just stay in it.
And the is going to be pivotal. And that starts by even just feeling a little bit of chip damage onto Neymar. Keeping them away from your important operators is going to be key. And by any means necessary, whether that's just kind of firing at them over long distances, over the long range amount of time, or just kind of getting aggressive, like you might see Frosty Games do, like you might see Lockdown do on that first floor. The goal of Platteville really is to stop the roamers, right? The attackers from kind of making their way through the first floor.
So we see Frosty down here for a very specific reason, and that's Neymar. Neymar's not coming over here now. He's kind of gone for something else after. Ooh, oh my god, being pushed off earlier. But now in this very moment where he's being searched for elsewhere, he's able to hop on in, get that grenade just as effective as the one we saw last round. But he's going to come down here and try and deal with the Kaede Claws. There is someone waiting for him. That's going to be the most impactful thing he could do from down below, other than get kills.
Kill by kill, only kill, singular, no plural. As Neymar is cut down right where he stands with about 1:20, and now with Bubba having an inability to counter the players that are hanging out over by security, the wall is still holding strong, and Platteville can still play around it with the amount of time left. This round feels like a little bit of a coin flip with the fact that Frosty Games hasn't been taken care of. We saw the impact of the Soulless, and it is just amazing what she did when that future tries to go.
Oh, they weren't able to get an entrance wall through here. Just these lines of sight. All the Sophia nades doing a good job of just pushing back the opposition, yep, and putting Rumble into a situation where he's going to have to quick peek, and that's basically a 50-50, especially if the angle's already being watched. Lockdown having to hold up close. He's got the SMG-11 to do it, but Toasters come on up the stairs. There's only Frosty left. He's overstayed in the basement. He's not going to be able to get up and stop the plant at all. He doesn't even have an impact to deny from below this time either. He just has to take a 1v4 head on. It's just not looking good for him.
But who knows? Maybe miracles happen, but those miracles will have to come with Barton messing up, and that is not going to be the case. So, map point very early on, and it is Barton simply being dominant on this map, on the attack, on the defense. It's all coming up blue.
I love that we got to see the same attack sans the Neymar carry. It really gives us credence to just exactly what Barton had set up for their attack there, because Neymar still goes down, gets the grenade kill, but he gets out. He's not overstaying because he knows that there's going to be someone down there looking for him, and there was. It took all of Frosty's round to just prevent the potential of having Neymar down there. They put so much fear in the defense that Frosty had to basically be AFK for the round. He couldn't rotate back until the round was already gone. And that was just the precedent that Neymar might go downstairs and do it again. And then they're able to default to their standard strategy, work together as a team and clear through sight, take out the player watching a long hallway, and get someone into small office. Get that pinch between the armory wall and the office base player. Beautiful execute.
Do you think Platteville comes back? Even with a slim chance with how Platteville's been playing, do you think they come back?
They have to win every single round from here until not playoffs or match points, but
every
overtime.
Round for the
every
rest
single
of the
round to
season.
overtime. Every round to playoffs. Oh jeez, that'd be one heck of a ticket to go up against. But even once they get to the overtime, they still have to win that 2 out of 3. They can only drop one round, and they don't even have that luxury for 4 more rounds. And Barton has just looked so commanding. They're not attacking the same objective this time. We've moved off to at least different color of green pastures in our other objective. So it's going to stop Barton from just running that same strat. I'm sure Platteville would go back armory if they had the option to at this point. But Barton's just looking so strong. This seems like an easy map for them at this point.
And Bubba has been thrown out. Nobody's directly going after them, but the roam hunt when it comes to Barton has been very efficient. They're not running Jack. They're simply running. I think the Lion has been the biggest extent for their roam player. It's mainly been drones going underneath, fragging above. That's where Neymar has been absolutely fragging out, but they're not on Young. They're not on Sledge. They don't have the frags. There are no frags overall for Barton. It's just a lot of soft destruction, a lot of anti-roam. And is that going to be the path for Barton? As I don't think utility has been mainly the key for them. It has just been frags over and over. And if that's what it takes, that's what Barton's getting.
Frosty is not in a good spot yet. Oh, no way! No way he gets out of there! Barely the shield bounced that first grenade away, and then the second puck was just corralled by it, so he gets out of the most guaranteed feeling fuse charge I've seen in my entire life. Somehow he gets to survive. One defender down, but there's a lot of downlines up above. I'm Toaster removing the smoke, removing the shield, and getting full line of sight on Bathroom. That was the big bastion of the defense for Barton themselves when they were playing this site earlier. Oh, and so much soft destruction above. This is what you're bringing your buck for.
Yeah, we pivot to Lockdown, who, I mean, they haven't really been doing it. It's kind of been the salty Archer, the Toaster, the Neymar. Everybody on Barton, aside from Urfi, who still has 4 kills, has the same amount as Lockdown and Frosty, who we just touted in the previous map. There is going to be an equalizer. It's not as hard-hitting as you would like with 30 seconds left. You would love more than that. But with Barton, they are very soon going to converge onto the site. Those drones being put in last-second positions. You are going to see the conversion. It begins now.
Legion Mine is going to slow down Neymar. He doesn't have a lot of time to work with now. 12 seconds on the clock. Murphy's going to find one for his team. Lockdown has to get back to objective pretty quick. He's made the rotation just in time, though, to make a double kill, leaving Dallas as the only attacker left. He's got to go in with no vision, no time on the clock, and Robo, the last player in sight, despite having no one in Bathroom anymore after those fuse charges came out, despite having Lockdown on the other side of the map from all of the fighting until the last 13 seconds. Still, Platteville finds their last round. They're playing smart and playing slow, and with a little bit of luck in keeping Frosty alive on 1 HP through all of those just raining explosions.
I think the best way to describe Platteville and their endings is, hey, as long as it works. Like, the entire round might not really cater to them, or it might. and everything's like a mess in the last 30 seconds, and then you got the last 10 seconds, and Platteville, like, at the last second will just, like, stick everything together with duct tape and glue, and sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Attackers
Most
need
of
to
the
locate
times
and defuse
it doesn't.
the
That's why they're
main
losing 6-3. But in those rare instances, and maybe for at least 3 more rounds, they might just have enough staple units to get them all the way over.
Attackers have discovered the location of a
Here's
bomb.
an interesting thing is Thunderbird brought this going to make the back of this objective a nice, solid, safe space. All 3 of them converging on this eastern objective. So this is going to be clearly that bastion for the defense. This is where they have to make sure that they're keeping themselves
10 seconds to go.
accessible for the most of this round to get the value out of that. So it's going to show us a little
5
bit more of the
seconds
game
left
plan
before
with
insertion.
the rotation hole right by workshop. That means that someone's going to be playing faster,
Attackers are heading out to
inevitably,
defuse the
maybe
bomb.
not at the beginning, but definitely once pressure starts getting applied on objective, that forces some close-up angles, which could be really good for the shotguns that they're bringing.
And then those close angles, I think, surprisingly enough, I think Barton kind of likes this long, because with the P90, with exactly like this, you're going to see an engagement that usually has preferred to slant towards Barton's direction, but Open clearly not ready. But you know who is? Neymar Jr. Dotson. 2 of the most pivotal players on Platteville are going to be relegated to the bench at a crucial moment. Remember, Platteville needs to win 3 more rounds, otherwise we are going to a map 3. So that opening pick, it basically means nothing because of what Neymar just did.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. There's not going to be any flank. There's no collapsing on the attackers for the defenders now. They just have to play their positions, except for the one who's still up top. But I would
Attackers
reckon
dropped the
he's
bomb
trying to
diffuser.
get back
Attackers
and
have
find a
recovered
point
their
of
diffuser.
contact downstairs. He can't play to die anymore. He's lost that luxury in the player count. Luckily, finding it down on Salty might get him out.
Oh, no, there is Bubba, who has been putting up a lot of kills. Where Lockdown and Frosty may have been, you know, a little dead here and there. There's Bubba. Murray with the Thunderbird Coda Stations stays alive.
Literally keeping him alive through the
Somehow.
burst.
Yeah, no, I think they got like 2 stims. It's not going to help them in the end, but I was very afraid that Neymar was going to walk into their own fragger. Luckily, they're kind of spared from that humiliation with the gun barrel of Robo, but it's back to what I was saying about Platteville's endings. As long as it works, treasure. Toaster is inside the site. Nobody is really around them. Bubba and Dalos trading a little bit of kills, and now a 1v2. Over in bathroom. Does Barton know where this Frost is?
Well, they should. They had a player killed from right over here just a second ago, especially with these bullets going across the entire objective. They definitely do. Now it's up to Dallas to, even on such low HP, hold this angle. He needs the headshot when it comes to this burst. I'm totally wrong. He does not need the headshot to get this. He does have plenty of damage on the rifle, but I definitely thought that was going to be a headshot with what was brought to him. Our Frost, though, in the corner just didn't have lines of sight to help him with anything there, and Dallas picking up 2 kills at the end gave that free ticket to put Plant down and get on out of that one and head on to map 3.
Well, map 3 map 1 was a close one. Map 2 definitely went Barton's way. We avoided overtime. Map 3, going to Oregon. I feel at this point it really could be anybody's game. Everybody knows this map. All the attacks have been a little iffy, and you cannot say the same thing about Border that you could say the same thing about Oregon. Everybody knows how to play this map, knows how to defense, knows how to attack. I mean, what is the plan going forward for both these teams?
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a lot more comfortability, especially on that attacking half. And the attack is a lot of times a lot harder to hone. You have to set the pace. You can't play at the pace and kind of answer things as they go on. You got to be a lot more proactive on everything from droning to moving up through hallways to which angles you peek. On defense, you have a lot more luxuries. You can play those same the same angles that are going to be good every single round. But on attack, it's just so much different that way, and that's what's been giving these teams some issues that way. Luckily for Barton, they were able to really put their foot down and say, we can attack on border, and that's what really is setting them ahead and giving them a lot of momentum going into map 3 right now, which I think might even give me a little bit of preference for them with how they're just looking right now and how they're probably feeling back in their Discord call.
Yeah, so a good little time for them. They're going to have a good map 3 if they want to finish it out. We're going to go to a quick break, and then at the end of that, Oregon will be waiting. We'll be right back.
back from that refreshing little break. We're back with University of Wisconsin Platteville and Barton Esports. Continuing on, it's going all the way to map 3. It's been pretty close through this. A lot of last-second rounds last map, and pretty back and forth first one earlier.
Yeah, but now we head to a very, very equal footing map. Oregon, an equalizer, some might call it. And that is because everybody knows how to play this map. So the advantages that potentially Barton might have had on border, I think those are washed away completely. It's going to be about who steps ahead first, because whoever has done that in map 1, it was Platteville. Yes, we went to overtime, but they eventually did win the map. In map 2, it was Barton. They went on to win the map. So map 3, whoever starts on the defense, I think is naturally going to inherently get that advantage. We're going to have to see, because I don't think we truly know who has the defense here.
Yeah, I'm not sure when we'll get confirm on that, so we'll see in a minute.
When we get in the game, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be fine enough. But see, here's an interesting thing: is this has been a match where so many rounds have gone the way of the team that gets the first pick on the round, and that's really common in Siege, just as any other similar oriented game. But especially here with these teams having some really high impact top fraggers who are usually making those entries and usually meeting head on with each other. And it's that clash of their titans between the relative sides that really determines who gets to continue having that top fragger move on and go and get into more and more gunfights. And we have had some hero plays as well. A couple players really standing up above. Last map on border, I think, are undisputedly, I think, Neymar took so many rounds, even the ones where he wasn't getting massive amounts of kills. He was shutting down plants in the final seconds. He was coming back and getting 1v1s where the opponent didn't even know where he was, and he was just that X factor for the team. Just phenomenal stuff, basically commanding a map on his own.
Yeah, we've always kind of seen that from one player on Platteville, one player on Barton. A hero, I guess you could really call that, is the hero of the map. And who is going to step up? Is it going to be Frosty Games, who has really been there on every single map? But I guess there's that one shining hero that needs to be for either Barton or Platteville, as we just kind of trot our way through the bans. Nothing really special here, and that's kind of to be expected. We've seen Thatcher Jackal every single map except the previous one, which Jack was able to slip by, have not really a big presence, and I think that would be the same here. But Solus, it's the first time we've seen her go down, and I think that's a good play. I think that's a good ban for Barton. Excuse me, Platteville.
Yeah, we're getting just a couple little spicy target bans there, because this is the operator that really made Neymar excel on border as well. He really commanded that early lead on the defensive side, so I think that's really wise as well. Valkyrie being banned this time. When she's been up, she's been nearly picked every round, so keeping her up on the ban list as well makes perfect sense. Second floor is our first objective of choice from Barton.
Yeah, well, you gotta start somewhere, and it's gonna start in an area that Salty Archer will be able to have a better presence on. That is if they know that the Blitz is coming. If Platteville truly do want to bring out something like a Blitz, something like an Amara, which maybe they won't, the high-octane gameplay that we actually haven't seen from either of these teams could actually be a benefit, because what Platteville usually do is they get in, get their picks, and then they just wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait, until by some miracle they lose the round. And it's because they wait forever and ever, and the opportunities just pass them right by. And I think if they do kind of pick up the tempo a little bit, not wait until those last 30 seconds, they could potentially find some treasure, pun intended, in that little mix.
Yo, that's me, I'm on the TV.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay. I love Amaru on this objective, actually. You can do the silly thing and fling her into objective immediately, put her in the dormitory in objective B, but doing that a little later into the round with some more intel around it, or even using it just to position up on the rooftops, or use her as a flanker. Ooh, and reposition quickly as well. All of these things actually make her gadget very worthwhile, especially with having very effective guns available. You get an ACOG on the G8A1, which is phenomenal, and depending on what the secondary is, an SMG at 11 or an E-12S, those are like the two best secondaries in the game.
Yeah, Amaru, I mean, her lack of a real gadget that can be effective in key situations can definitely be substituted by the fact that she brings a backpack full of secondary utilities, secondary guns. She brings everything to the table. And maybe you could get something out of that with somebody like Murray hopping up into Armory, making their way through Trophy, as now there is not a hole that you could really see Platteville squeeze through. But I think Neymar going down definitely is substitute for that. I was talking about this directly. Treasure. Platteville, very early on, 2 minutes left in this entire round, is already in Trophy, already cleared that first floor, and then they just aren't going to see that. I mean, something needs to change, and I think it's exactly this.
Yeah, that's the exact thing that gives a commanding start. What do we do in the mid-round? Damage going out to Robo. Salty not quite finding the head that he needs, but a Zofia impact is going to blow out his shield, so he's not going to be able to stay there for much longer. He's just going to fling those smokes and try and forestall the inevitable attack through Trophy. These are smoke grenades that won't be able to be used in a minute. We're getting to the end of the round. And with these trades going either way, this actually feels pretty advantageous for the attacking side. And they've taken so many of these mid-trip objectives so early. This wall right here being fully opened is huge for Platteville. They just need to leverage this sooner rather than later before time becomes their end.
With that secondary utility we talked about, Murray's going to have to create a little hole, which will be his downfall. There's I'm a Toaster waiting in Attic, so I think you definitely pop the question, was that a mistake from Murray? Because now the Barton's going to be able to find an angle into the hallway, which Lobo is going to have less of a fun time to come down these stairs. 30 seconds left. And I hate, like, being right, Treasure, but Bubba going down all alone. Toaster could really push up through the attic, but he's actually going to be late. Bubba gets the diffuser down, does die, and the round does go Barton's way. So, it's just like, they were in trophy for 2 minutes.
So, here's the thing. Our diffuser made that play with no pressure from outside. He said, okay, we've got 30 seconds left. I'm going to have to jump through this wall eventually, and with the smokes keeping my teammates away from me, I may as well do it now. It's a bit of a Hail Mary to hop in there because you might just lose diffuser if someone peeks. But he could have done that at any time for the last minutes, right? Because at a minute and a half, they had that wall open. It was walkable. There was someone in Trophy that was getting smoked out. Basically the same situation. So if they'd made that move, they'd forced a play from the defenders earlier. They could have, even if they lost him, forced someone to move out and give a line of sight, open their head up to be shot at from Trophy. That's why you're opening up that split angle. Otherwise, something like a smoke grenade gives you exactly what you need. Just a little bit more utility. Just a way to make it safe to walk into games room from there. So maybe a little bit of misallocation of utility, maybe that fear of pulling the trigger and being wrong, right? Doubting your decision to get in there. Someone's got to just make the call a little bit earlier at Platteville because you're doing the same thing, just doing it a minute too late for it to be safe.
I think that is definitely the
10 seconds to go.
Right on the head. It's analysis paralysis, as
5
some
seconds
have
left.
dubbed it. And at some point, you have to realize that the
Attackers
ability
must
to not make
locate and
decisions
defuse
is
a bomb.
killing you over potential decisions that you might do in the wrong. But enough talking about Platteville and their attack. I think I've mentioned that time and time again. Let's talk about Barton. Their attacks and their ability to adapt, I think, is something that is pretty impressive. You can never truly cut off the head of Barton. When we initially thought it was somebody like Neymar, here comes Salty Archer. With Salty Archer, maybe it's taken out. I'm a Toaster suddenly just starts popping up everywhere, finding kills. Barton has a great ability to spread a lot of those kills around and not put all of their tricks in one bag.
Okay. there's a lot of movement up here on the higher floors from Platteville so far. They've actually guaranteed that they're safe in a lot of spots. Got some drones set up on stairs. But deciding which angle that they're actually going to dedicate on is going to be a little interesting. Neymar is playing real close on this angle. Yeah, as soon as he hears Frosty starting to punch those open, he's looking for that kill and maybe even a second one. It's not going to come, but he should have some, yeah, he's got 3 in the pocket of his zombie gadget, so he can set up some Kaiba barriers right around that door, make it an even harder angle to push up on. But I don't think Platteville is going to be coming back down Laundry Stairs anytime soon. No one else on that side of the map. They're having a hard time opening up any floors as well. No Maverick to speak of means that these hatches have to be opened from below.
They're not. That basically means they're not going to get open that hatch. You're not really going to be able to create a whole NDE box and get that hatch open, and that is why Kaid is banned a lot on this map, because of, honestly, like, that specific hatch right there. Neymar walks into the bullets of Lockdown, who does a great little pre-fire right there, and now there are 3 blue bodies waiting right around the corner for Lockdown, who is not aware in the slightest, and that was just the mob absolutely hunting down their most precious target. But Robo does a great job at finding a refrag over inside of Laundry. And that bulletproof is a big reason why Lockdown was able to be hunted. And Murray simply takes care of that. We're at a 3-3, now 3-1, as Murray and Robo just get kills of their own. And this is a great equalizer that Platteville most surely needed after that second map.
Wow, Lockdown drew all the fire. 3 players coming down to Freezer to deal with them, and the cavalry arrives just a moment too late to save them. But down the Laundry Stairs, and it's a perfect cross angle to just catch out everyone who's playing that mirror wall looking into Freezer. Everyone who is like, oh, patting themselves on the back after getting locked down. Suddenly, all 3 heads are just lined up, and it's time for the rest of the team to get in there and get some action and pull that round count back to even as we start off. Nope, strong leads for either team this time. We're going to play a much evener 3rd map.
Are you going to keep the blitz, Bubba? Can I do the analysis on the blitz, please? Because I'll talk about Blitz anyway, because Blitz has, actually had a presence in high tier siege. Not as, a rush strat, not as, a mean. We're seeing a lot more Blitz, and it's because he has a really good presence at just being this giant threatening monster that is running toward you, can flash you, melee you to death. Pistols are still one-shot headshots, and if you can't really deal with him, if you have a smart Blitz player that has a horde behind him, there is really nothing that can be done if you're a solo player on the run. I'm guessing because we are on a mission side that this will be a Blitz rush, because that is what Blitz usually does on Basement of Oregon. Blitz is not a crazy pick if we were somewhere else. I still would love to see the Blitz rush, however.
Oh, he's moving. He's got Murray right up in front of him. He's got Finka for a speed boost to apply. Yeah, and the Gunsick is going to open that up. He's moving right down into bunker. Some blinding going either way. The pistol isn't really going to do exactly what he's hoping for. Oh, no. And so much of Barton is going to fall. Actually, Frosty has this angle right to the objective with a down in there, so Urfi is going to take some time to rest. Oh no! Another down as soon as he's up! There's that pressure from across. Both of these walls are not going to be reinforceable now after losing players. 2 defenders left, 2 attackers. Everything has been sold down here in this back room. Neymar's now all alone, and his head's going to show just long enough.
It works. As long as it works. Treasure. As Platteville,
as long as it works.
That's the motto. And they get 2 attacking rounds, which is the most that we've seen from an attacking team so far. It's a tied. There is absolutely a chance that they get more than that, considering what Platteville has looked like and how their calls have been. It's been so much better than Border, and I think a lot of that comes down to comfort. You wanted to see it. I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Not just in operator picks, not just in strategy, but in calls. In the moment, comfort is the name of the game. That's what Oregon brings, is comfort. And so far, it's Platteville who are relishing it.
Yeah, and I like to see it. It also brings some variety in the strategies. That this way, we know what the precedent is every time we go into one of these rounds. So being able to break the precedent with some of these more avant-garde attacks, like a really successful start to a round with Amaru, Murray doing so much for the team, and then this third round going with Bubba on the blitz. He doesn't get a stupid number of kills. He doesn't blaze all the way through the site, but he does everything that they need to set up just enough of a rush to make sure that that smoke is never going to get to reinforce his bunker, and make sure that there's just a never-ending trail of players needing to be raised by the defense.
And I didn't get to mention this, but Blackbeard, like, that is literally the best you can have, moment you can have for Blackbeard. When the opponent is low, they need to headshot you because of how low they are, and this guy walks up, saran wrap on his gun, says, okay, you need a little bit longer to headshot me. And Blackbeard can take just a little bit more time to get one single bullet. And that's exactly what happened. Lockdown draws first blood onto Dallos, and now just the Platteville hunt has begun. Toaster takes damage. Neymar has to run for their life. We are a minute in the round, and so far, Platteville has just made headway in sending all these defenders careening around the map.
Yeah, and Lockdown has really picked up as well, finding first picks in 2 of these rounds already, feeling that comfort again that he just wasn't seeing.
Oh, that wall already open. All right, I've 2 minutes. I got the wall open.
Yep.
I have 1 kill. How long is it gonna take for Platteville to A, win, or let's say B, even just push and try to get that bomb down? Let's start counting.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, already 30 seconds have gone by. We haven't gained a little bit more drone, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying we need to rush as soon as we get a kill and get a little bit more pressure. But right now, you can force fights pretty hard as long as you're coordinating with the team. Especially with that second grenade kill coming out. Yeah, Frosty, they brought the Maverick this time, good on both upstairs and downstairs sites. Ooh, he's going to give away his location for a bit, but there's not the manpower to put someone down and adding to killing him off. And Robo's got a great angle here. They've taken trophy just like before, this time with the shield to reinforce it further. This has been great from Platteville. They basically suited up to defend right outside the site. So as soon as that plant gets down, they're going to be down.
Oh no, Lockdown has fallen, and so far Bubba is going to back up because of the smoke canister. Actually does push onto White, drops the diffuser, and just like that, with the snap of a finger, Treasure, they went too far. You said it perfectly. There's a small health disparity, map control disparity. Platteville, once again, I'm repeating myself, a broken record. They had map control, they had time, they had advantages in man counts. And yet still, here is Barton walking away with the win. It's killer to see it happen time and time again.
Neymar looking nice yet again. Just really showing off in the gun skill in a lot of the situations. And a really great bring back from Barton. Unfortunately, I think it really does come down to just moving a little bit too far, going for the full retreat down to White. I don't know if I can speak specifically to how much damage he was taking from the smoke, but it looked, at least from the overhead view.
He had like 2 ticks of damage. There wasn't a real need to push the Malusi.
Yeah, I think it could have stayed on games and got the foosball table plant off. Maybe if not then, but just coming right back to it in a moment when the smoke's gone.
I mean, there was also enough time to bait out the smokes as well. Like, you
Attackers
cover
need to locate and
from
defuse
White,
as
make
many
sure that
bombs as
nobody
they
is
can.
crossing from bunk over to, or from kids over to bunk. Like, I think managing like when you need to push and when you don't need to push, I think that is a better way to articulate what Platteville is struggling with, is knowing when to push, knowing not to. Because in a way, they definitely heeded my advice, and they got in the fight. With a minute left, you saw the ace trying to get the diffuser down, but then they just took it too far, like you mentioned, and that's what ended up losing the round. I feel like this should be Platteville's. I
5 seconds
think
left
with
before-
what I've seen from the first match and the second map, from even these first 4 rounds,
Attackers are moving out to
I think
locate a bomb and
Platteville
defuse it.
have the ability to take it all. If they have a 3-3 split, I think that could change, because they should be walking away with a lot more.
They do worry me coming back to basement again with no Maverick. They have the Hibana. You're bringing Hibana because she can open up all the hatches from first floor down to basement, or at least 2 pivotal ones, especially if you're looking at like a freezer hatch and E-box hatch. Those are really great avenues to open up, but with the electrification from Kaid, you know he's up there, you know he's going to be right again. Not having a solution to that is just costing yourself. I mean, first of all, Toast is going to be able to just play on E-box all good. And that's such a good position that watches both Big Tower stairs and the long hallway and freezer. Like, you're giving him so much luxury by not bringing a Maverick.
Like, Robo staring at that hatch, knowing they have a Kaid. Like, you have to settle for this hatch,
Going
and that's
live.
not something you should do, because hatches are a very pivotal part of the Oregon defense, especially E-box hatch. And like, you can try, Robo. You can set out an impact EMP, but Bubba getting the exact position is going to be very rare,
Attackers bomb diffuser has been
and I
dropped.
don't think it's going to happen. And I think Platt will just have to settle once again for trying with something different.
Bomb located
Bubba
by
goes
attackers.
down, and at this point, like, okay, I think they
They get
did. Wow. All right, I'll give it to them. They did get the hatch open.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
They do. Okay, they get the res too, actually. This puts Platteville in a pretty nice position. They were victims to that damage from below, though, but that's too much pause, actually, especially with healing. This puts them in a nice position for this last minute. Player pushing up through freezer. Yeah, Frosty over here. He has no nades left, so he's just gonna have to peek the angle with the ARX. Not the greatest position to be in. Holding this angle will stop a rotation. Yeah, and any of these players getting to laundry at all, and with Murray pushing up to laundry as well, that'll create a good foundation for the lens.
Alright, now Lockdown
Attackers
just
drop the
gets
bomb
cut down by Salty Archer as Platteville, just with their 2 remaining members. Nothing much they really can do besides try to walk inside, try to find fix as Murray. I don't actually know if you know this as the round ends. You take more damage while under Finka boost. So if they hadn't been shot, with the Finka, with how much smoke was covering them, they probably would have suffocated to death. It's not a very, like, a fun fact. It's not a very cool way to end that round. I just felt like I really needed to tell you that.
Yeah, it's you ever be Finka boosted and then go in the smoke yourself? It's terrifying. Your health
That's what I was
just
saying. Yeah, your health
disappears.
just, bam, gone.
Yeah, it's like beyond the like fun fact knowledge about it. It's like so much scarier than you'd expect. Like smoke is like, okay, like I can't be here, but it's not killing me. If you're finger boosted, I'm about to die if I don't move literally right now.
Exactly.
And they're having to deal with that and
Defenders,
gunfire
protect your
coming
bombs
down.
from being defused by
I
attackers.
think that one comes down to, well, first of all, Salty got 2 really big kills. He kind of stayed really late into the round in the bunker extension, which is surprising, and got him 2 kills, which is huge.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And the second one is that I think the Platteville attack was a little bit delayed. Like we get into freezer a couple seconds before a player comes down into laundry, which is a couple seconds before the Ash player ran in through bunker and then did face up against Salty. So it gave Salty, who came out here getting a couple kills at the end, the ability to rotate
seconds
after
remaining.
that. So it's another one of those just executing at the same time. So just make that
5
push better.
seconds
It doesn't
left.
guarantee you the win at that point, but it makes it a little closer.
Attackers objective
Make the
is to
push better,
defuse a
Platteville.
bomb.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. Just be better. That's. Obviously
That's my
Platteville.
secret. Not really.
Yeah,
That's
you're
like
just better.
I was once gifted with that knowledge, and I've chosen specifically not to implement it. I've never gotten better.
When prompted between getting better and not getting better, I have simply chosen to not get
Yeah.
better.
I've chosen to be a caster instead. So
Of course. Like us all. But Platteville, I think you going on to the dining area. This is one part of the map where you really shouldn't take your time. you get the wall open. It's pretty easy to get the wall open, even if there is projectile, which there is not. And if the site is clear, especially if showers is gone, you potentially could make sure that the area of kitchen overlooking dining is clear. Make sure the top floor is at least cleared enough, which Flappo has done a great job at. You just need to make sure that timing gets you through everything. And that's something that Flappo can do, but I think Lockdown has kind of ignored timing and simply just started finding kills left and right. Dallas needs to be careful. They're just kind of peeking a lot of these holes with no care. No matter what, Platteville, they should be able to get into sight, be able to put that diffuser down, especially with how little members Barton has.
Yeah, say what you will about Lockdown throwing caution to wind right there. I think it was exactly what the team needed, is to get those opening kills, because there's a lot of Lockdown over here by showers. And suddenly, this is this point where the attack has a great advantage, and Barton has to run back in here to try and seize this area. Salty barely having any health left, just like Murphy. Salty is peripheral to objective anyways. He's not on the objective itself, so he's got to keep shutting down this barrier, and he has no idea where it's going to come from the hallway, it looks like, and he finished out because Lockdown opening up this huge gaping hole in the defense.
All right, not a 4-2 split like we've seen. It's equal footing across the board.
Fitting map 3, wouldn't you say?
I think so. A fitting map 3. We saw Platteville up 4-2 map 1, Barton up 4-2 map 2, 3-3 map 3. It's like it's scripted. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I wrote the script. Platteville wins in the end.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to NECC to allow us, the casters, the luxury of writing the script before these matches. We've rehearsed this a couple times. This is
yeah, we're actually very good at acting, and we're like, oh my gosh, whoa. Barton wins map 2. Platteville
yeah, we've been working on this one for a while. We're looking
wins
over an Oscar.
map 3. Oh my goodness.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Alright, and just as planned, we're going second floor start with. Just like before, we like the symmetry of it as we go into what will, of course, be 3-3-half. The Thunderbird's back again, Murray, on the Thunderbird. This saved his life in a pivotal moment back on order for those of you. Shout out to the OGs who were here for map 2.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I think bringing the Thunderbird on this site, it's not a horrible idea. Like, you could say, oh,
yeah, I love him right here.
Yeah, I would say, do you have better utility that you could bring with Thunderbird? But you place it in areas like Pit, you place it in areas where potentially the smoke will play in kids, and that can be round changing if you're able to tank a few more bullets like Murray has been able to in the past when you do these Kona stations.
Yeah, I do like that. Love it here playing Kaid, keeping those walls closed up, and playing the close angle on the games room. That's place that they were previously able to open up pretty darn fast, so it'll be nice to have an extra set of hands here to watch up close with an SMG. Yeah, it's going to stay closed up a lot longer than on the other side, so Platteville will have a luxury of that back to put their own back, or that wall to put their own backs up against in games room.
Kind of quiet that we didn't see from Platteville early on, but Barton, unlike Platteville, who kind of get a good start, then kind of back up, Barton ramps up. They maybe start off, maybe Neymar will get like a kill about a minute in, and then we get 45 seconds, Neymar gets another one, and then it's just like slowly speeding down a hill. Halfway through the round, here's Neymar with the first one, and then Barton kind of starts rolling down that hill. Toaster goes down, and if Murray gets the kill on the Dallas, unfortunately, they are not able to, which gives the map control fully over to Barton, but we're still kind of equal. Bubba, despite having Kona stations, despite the fact that they are one bullet away, moves forward. Is that going to be a good decision now, the fact that Lockdown is down?
Oh, wow. Okay, this angle is going to be huge. Neymar already making phenomenal impact with this frag grenade from below. Practically a free kill. Oh! Bubba barely managing to get out of there and not gonna kill himself. He does get it down in a second, and another down on Dallas. Now it's just Neymar. He sees the urgency of the situation with his teammates. Gone the smoke, taking one of them fully. I don't know if he knows that Bubba's down now after all of this. But Frosty has been waiting and watching for him down that corridor. There's only one place left that the player could come from with all those smokes going down. It's that white stairway.
Bubba is simply better in those moments. I thought, like, why not go for the Kona stations? But Bubba decided to play his life, go for these extremely important picks. If he doesn't find the one onto the player in Armory, I think that round completely changes, because then the smoke is not able to get the player over by the
Defenders, protect your
closet
bombs
wall.
from being
You're not able to pivot over to that player on white stairs. It's everything working together. The micro decisions that we talked about. Platteville get that round, finish it off with a nice little rose, and we go back to this basement, continuing with those Kona stations that their lack in the previous round spoke volumes.
Loading full mag.
Yeah. Interestingly, I don't think there's really any pressure from Attic side presented, so that did allow for a really
10 seconds
safe
remaining.
playing of kids' dormitories throughout that round. There wasn't much pressure
5 seconds to insertion.
actually leave any spots there. All the engagements were fully on the defense to take.
Attackers must
So that might be
locate
one of
and
those like
defuse the
macro
bomb.
things that consume that. I'm not saying every time you need to attack from Attic on the second floor. But I think this one specific situation that really went in Platteville's favor, that they had put the resources in staying in kids' dormitory and pressure too.
Benji is ready.
I mean, I just find it so funny, the contrast between the two. And like Platteville, even with 20 seconds in, you've got like explosion, running in, here's lockdown, and then with like Martin, it's just like droning. 20 seconds in,
Yeah.
it's the Flores drone, and you can just like hear everything slowly start to piece itself together, and it's just the patience from Barton is a lot different than the patience from Platteville. I think it's a lot more intentional. They know they need to be patient instead of it kind of coming as just part of the attack. They use the map control that they get. Maybe they use Neymar as a way to assert their dominance, and then they slowly get towards the attack, start the execution. It's just how Platteville responds to that kind of diverts that plan.
A little bit of a C4 going over towards Laundry. Nope, definitely wasn't. I thought I saw somebody get thrown though. But here we've seen the attack open up both of the relevant hatches that we talked about on a previous round. So they've got a lot more accessing angles that aren't really going to do much for the defenders. Okay. Oh, and everyone's grouped back up now. Neymar was on an off angle. Now he's coming back to meet up with his teammates. So we've got Laundry and Freezer as our points of attack that we're establishing. Eyes looking into Freezer. There's no one watching on this angle on boxes. On the further back box, you have Robo who's ready for this attack to come on up, and the Laundry attack is well underway as well.
Here comes the Candelas, and Salty Archer just walks straight in. Is there a kill? Yes, there is. Around the corner, coming from the rotate. A second one presents itself too. And Diffuser going down. It's not a flawless from Barton as Toaster gets off the Diffuser. That could give space for Platteville to shut down that Diffuser, but it is going to eventually be stuffed. Murray cannot get to a Kona station, cannot heal themselves, and they have to find some way to defuse this Diffuser that Platteville has put down in about 20 seconds to stop Platteville from going up 2 rounds as the timer slowly ticks down. It just seems that Platteville, they're going to have to accept that its score is going to be 3v5. 10 seconds left for Murray to get anything done, even a kill. Pad some KD at the end of it. Maybe you'll get something, but Murray just fires some hot shots over there. Yep, all right, you got one. Add that one to the montage as the round does end. It goes Barton's way, so we are all tied up.
may have missed something, but as far as I could tell, there was 3 defenders in bunker when the push started from the opposite side of the objective, and everything seemed fine from Platteville's defense until we see a push into storage room and smoke comes out of bunker. Okay, smoke's still in bunker. That happens, right? And then Mira's out there as well. What was he doing over there? Okay, and he dies the same way. And then we get to our final player for Platteville, and it's Murray in bunker again. The attack is going down in laundry and freezer. Feels Robo was solo defending objective at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like positioning in hindsight is a little.
Yeah, I'm
maybe a little
confused.
bit.
There must have been something I missed, I think, that like drew them over there, but before the push started, I thought everyone was in good positions, and then we get to the pivotal moment when everything is bearing down on them, and you know, laundry just isn't defended now. That's what y'all needed to be there. We'll put up a valiant fight, though. I like
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
Yeah, hindsight is a very, very powerful thing, but you've got the future to look forward to. At least we do. As going on to round 9, overtime kind of seems like it's guaranteed. Not guaranteed, but it's the natural progression of where we are headed with how tight a lot of these rounds are. Platteville, they squeak one by. There's Barton getting one immediately. In the next round, in Platteville, with how the pattern has kind of been progressing, it seems like they should be able to get this round, especially with the changes that they made. You go from Murray, who is now on the Warden, so the Candelas from Salty Archer won't have as much impact, and the changes will be welcome there, which Barton then will be able to make in the next round. And it's just a whole bunch of building blocks on top of each other until eventually we crown a winner.
Here, I have a query for you, Light Rose. Did you notice Frosty? I don't think he was shooting a drone. I may have just not seen the drone. Did you see, like, he was kind of shotgunning the mats there, the tarps that are on the ground? Is there a reason for that you know? Is that, or do you think it was just a drone?
It looks cool.
That's fair. Like, that's a very valid reason to me, so.
I don't.
Acceptable answer.
Yeah, no, I don't think with the amount of random shotgun holes there are, and how sporadic they are, that Frosty would not be that bad at shooting a shotgun.
Yeah, I was like, it made me think of like putting shotgun holes in a wall that you want to trick. I was like, it kind of looks like that. It's kind of approach that to me. This is a much quicker attack in this round. We're a bit over a minute, and already smoke grenades are having to come out in freezer to deal with these attackers coming down there. Neymar's going to give us a little rotate, leaving a teammate to watch that angle. And despite Dallas taking a lot of damage, he's going to be supported by this drone. There we go. Big kill in objective. Frosty puts down the diffuser carrier, now stuck in objective.
What do you do? Like, diffuser is in sight. There's no easy access. I think at this point, you just have to realize that, okay, diffuser's kind of a lost cause. We have to go for kills at this point, because if you do get to diffuser, you have to fight tooth and nail for it. You have to fight through lockdown, fight through Murray, fight through Frosty with 30 seconds left. With, luckily, no C4s or smoke canisters on the side of Platteville. That does mean that attacking this side is going to be a little bit easier. But you still have to go through these three defenders with the mirror windows active, with the natural advantages that the site gives you, like Toaster not really being able to see that attack coming, as Barton only having airfeed all the way in freezer. They're just gonna stumble their way to a gravely demise as we head into closer and closer that ever so present match point.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit, well, I don't know, we're not getting too close to it, I guess. I'm barely pulling ahead here for Platteville. We were on 4-4 before, so someone's got to break that stalemate with the even round counts, and Platteville's not a bad candidate for it at all, especially on that round, really successfully holding on to their site. Back up to second floor this time. We've seen this play out before with a really, really strong kids' dorms hold. I'm curious to see what the attack is going to do.
As many bombs as
specifically.
Yeah, I really like the boarding. Like, it was on Murray the last time, and now Lockdown picks it up. Salty has gone haywire on the Ying. Like the candelas that have been thrown in, the smokes that we've seen here from time to time, they have been a nuisance from some of these attackers. And bringing out the one direct counter, the most direct counter that you have to a Ying or smoke grenades Warden, I think is your best shot that you have at taking down somebody like Salty Archer, who is running through your team when it comes to kills. The only problem with that, you still have to deal with Neymar and Toaster, who are putting up equally impressive kill counts.
Activating glance.
Get some Aruni play here, bring in the EBR as well. This is good actually on this side of the objective, because she's got the punch so she can blow up that hash whenever she needs. And of course her utility does do a lot for some vital windows up here. She's got a lot of flexibility in placement. But that EBR holds some long angles, like that one from trophy doorway into master closet, from armory down to the stairway and down through the corridor. So dropping down below is also looking to cover main door. So it's actually a good flex position for her.
And well, that orange silhouette.
He's moved all the way to the basement.
Yeah, no, Murray is going on a very long flank that I don't know is going to be met with much smiles at the end of it, as there is Dallo. So, minute 48. There's so much time for Barton to work with. We're usually a little bit slower than Platteville, yet it's like we are seeing a Platteville-style attack with the amount of dead bodies that are just littering Oregon. And there's another one. Frosty goes down. And how does he do it? Indeed, Neymar just finds magic through the barrel of a gun.
He's at like a 50% rate of rounds played on attack and grenade kills gotten. He had a double kill with grenades earlier. He's gotten like 4 others, so maybe not 50%, but still more than one in a best of 3 is, you know, something to write home about. Let alone how much he's doing those. That's phenomenal, the consistency. And from here, it's just going to be a pop up part. Unless Lockdown can just make the craziest round right here. He's got one to work with, but nah, Neymar's here to get another one and just keep him on the mind.
5-5. Overtime. Or not overtime. Max regulation is going to happen. It's just about, is that where it ends? Is that where the story book closes, or is overtime going to be where all of us are headed? Does Platteville get to go to not kids' dorms again, meeting hall kitchen? Do you like that?
Yeah, this is interesting.
Do you like that?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. We see a bandit and a castle, so that's definitely a deviation. Their opponents chose the other kitchen site when forced to go there on their final round. But going on over here, it's going to be a little more bunkering down. They're not going to have to deal with that far away from the site play that they were able to exploit when they were attacking kitchen, where they were able to just send Lockdown in and clear out basically all of Dining Hall. This time, they've got the castle as well, so no mute to work with that, and I don't think a sledge coming out, so it's going to take some explosive utility from the attackers.
10 seconds to insertion.
I'm going to venture on the side of, I think this is actually going to be pretty nice.
5 seconds left
it's
before
going to
insertion.
be a big tax on Barton to get through those any operator choices.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
It's getting a little late. I had to get my cat. She was skedaddling around my chair, and so she's here to witness. Yeah, she's here to witness Barton versus Platteville. It's a very important round. Ari, make sure you're watching. Make sure you're watching.
Alright, Lockdown's getting everything just the way he likes it. Playing in security there. He's opened up the ceiling right above us. That way he can watch. Big window from the upstairs into dormitories. That way he can catch players coming in from up there. And watch by freezer stairs corridor as well. So he's going to be able to watch quite a bit. Yep, that is exactly what we were talking about. There's a castle going to be watching this. And it's a pretty nasty one too with Lockdown. So I'm just going to be able to push up on that. I'm not sure what Salty went. Oh no, just around the corner to Robo. And Robo is moving on this one. No one's there to finish him off for it. Yeah, no trade out despite the best efforts of Dalos. He's going to go up there. Yeah, run over from the van. See if he can work on any of that until it's a little stale by this point, though. It's probably just a death or no recourse.
I think that's kind of the echoes of what we saw in about the first map, was when Barton kind of sent one person in all alone. They sent everybody in all alone, hoping they got something, and instead they just ended up with one less man to help their attack. And that's really good what they're going to feel throughout this entire thing. A great shot from Neymar onto Bubba. So there is something. Neymar does trade a lot of health in the process. But can Robo find at least one more? Waste 15 more seconds. Something beneficial that comes out of this position that he has. So far, he's still diverting so much from this Barton attack, still alive. He's not going to last until the end of time, but as long as he can keep doing that, kills left, right, and center, and with the nice nail in the coffin that is Dalos' death, it will be Platteville winning that meeting kitchen site. You called it. You said it would be good for them, and it seems like that's coming true.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to that part of the utility burn game. It just came down to some great play on individual angles. I mean, Robo just finessing upstairs. He bought himself the ability to get out a couple times, and he doubled down and saying, no, I'm going to get as much as I can for the team right now. And that was the right bet that time. He was able to just play that out. He's better. Lockdown, still on that power position that we talked about earlier. He hasn't had to budge a muscle after denying entry from Big Window, which actually indirectly allowed Robo to keep going up there because there was two players up on the roof looking at that, trying to go, can we get in there? Can we deal with Lockdown shooting at our feet as we come in? And they said no. And that's a big no because it means that no one was able to go and flank Robo. It had to come from the front. They had to try and find him on his own ground. And he was playing that ambush game, which I think is the best part of Robo's play.
And Robo definitely. I mean, Robo has been one of the players that we've kind of like said their name every now and then.
Protect your bomb
but I think the play on that round has probably been some of the best that we've seen from them because of the true impact. Not only did they get an opening pick onto an important player like Sophie Archer, they diverted, I think, 3 members of Barton, got a kill onto Dalos. A cap can trap exploded. I'm a toaster. It all leads up to this, with Platteville to go back down to their basement site. Probably their preferred site out of everything here, considering their previous track record. And Barton now, they have to make a difficult decision about what they want to do. Salty Archer still sticks onto the Ying, which, after all this, after all the adaptations that Platteville have done, don't know if I agree with. I still think you get something better from a different operator that has better utility in this engagement.
Yeah, like the big thing is you're picking it to deal with the meta that Lockdown is bringing, but Murray has been nothing but profiting ever since he swapped to Warden. He is shutting down a whole leg of the push. So if you send 2 people to push down Freezer against him, he'll win against 2 people. You send 3 people to deal with him, he'll like down 2 and end up getting killed by the 3rd. But that's enough pressure. Like I think they've won every time that this has come up with a fight with him. As Warren with Ying pushing on him, especially with their smoke grenades. So it does definitely give them diminishing returns.
There is Neymar by the pillar, or looking at the pillar on the tower stairs. Nobody is directly playing over there, which usually you would expect, but I think with how sneaky he was able to get there, if he just bides his time, waits, the opportunity to find a kill maybe will present itself. But so far, Platteville aren't really moving from their positions. They're rigid in box, in E-box, in Blue Bunker, in Freezer,
bomb has been
wherever they
located.
are, it really isn't giving an incentive to stray from that position.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something a little off real quick. Neymar plays like his name is Neymar. I've just been fascinated. Like, there's something about that vibe. I don't have anything more to elaborate on that. He's fascinating to watch play. He's been so successful, especially as we get later into this match as well. But he's in such a stupidly good position right now, especially being able to look at the back of lockdown. Like, if he pushes that, he could rip apart Platteville and change the narrative on this regulation time round. And especially looking down at the barrel of this match point finally into map 3, UW Platteville just needs to win this one and get out of here, wipe their hands, get that 1-0 start. The push is beginning now. The blinds are going to successfully get Robo. He's been playing that freezer quite well, but it's going to make it so much harder. Yeah, he's got a tag out. Luckily, Marie is close at hand to hop on in here and get right through all those flashbangs as they just keep raining down. He finds the first kill. He takes out that Gemini drone, but that's only going to tell him that there's a player coming around him in just a couple seconds. Robo is pushing up here to get that pincer angle. This is a really demanding freezer defense.
And right now, it's Barton who do not have the upper hand. They have to find some way. And now, Platteville are still rigid, not moving. And that is not going to benefit Barton in the slightest. That diffuser has to find some way to get down. And as more Barton bodies just fall onto the floor, it's only the freezer players remaining. Neymar, the last dying hope. It's Platteville. They avoid overtime, win map 3 of Oregon, and start the entire season off with a victory.
Well, this match was all about these crooked, winding paths. They started out so dominant at the beginning of our Villa map, and from there it sort of drained away. They were able to get there in the end for Villa. The second map on Border was just so rough for them. They had a hard time finding their footing. But
That's my
Oregon, they
reaction to
finally, with
Platteville
all yeah, with all those back and forths, though, they find it in the end. They're I'm sad to see Neymar had that such a strong power position in that last round and ended up going back to Freezer, which was like the worst place to be on the map at that moment.
Well, I mean, Platteville, I think everything kind of led up to that final round. Like, they had a good basement site. Winning Meeting Hall Kitchen was kind of that final statement that they, were going to avoid overtime. And I was right. I said that Platteville, after all of it, we go through all the rounds, they were going to win. The script was right. I told you guys, it's a real thing, and we're very good at acting.
Yeah.
With Platteville, despite the script leading up to their victory, they really did earn that victory, even though they had a very lackluster map too. I think that did come down to potentially a lack of knowledge, a lack of comfort, which was immediately mediated by the fact that we went to Oregon, the most popular map in the game.
Yeah, that reads to me like, I can't totally speak to all their practice, but it seems like they have spent a lot less time on Border than these maps that have been in the competitive map pool for a long time. And that's kind of true for everyone, but that's one of those, sometimes you go up against an opponent who has played it more and you don't ban it because you're like, nobody really chooses Border like that. And, Barton was the guys who did, and they really benefited from that by making sure that was really good in their map pool, but it wasn't enough for it.
All right. Well, I mean, Platteville, this was a long one. It was almost like a overtime to max regulation type game. And so we are getting late. Platteville, they do walk away with a victory. Barton, as close as they were, they do have to start the season off with a loss. But, I mean, this has been Treasure in Light Wars. We are delighted to bring you guys the newest semester of NECC, and we will be here throughout the entire season. So make sure you are tuned in next week for Rainbow Six, and of course the rest of this week for more collegiate esports. We will see you guys next week. Make sure you stay tuned for that.